Business icon Seth Godin once said, "You already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself." Today, I will teach you 9 tips on how to get your dream job. For every job opening at a corporation, 250 people apply for that job. And according to CNBC, 80% of people that get jobs get them by networking. And so when you're trying to get your dream job, please remember that your network is your net worth. I will teach you 3 networking tips, as well as 3 interviewing tips, and lastly, 3 LinkedIn profile optimization tips. My name is Chris Haroun, and I teach business and personal development courses. I've changed careers many times, from the consulting sector to working at Goldman Sachs, to the hedge fund industry, the venture capital industry, and I've also started many companies. I failed a lot in trying to get a job because I just emailed my resume or a link to my LinkedIn profile. And your chances of getting a job that way is literally 1 out of 250. I then realized that relationships are more important than product knowledge, and that the best way to get a job is to network. So here are 3 networking tips to help you get your dream job. Number 1, ask for help. Now, close your eyes, please, because we're going to go to the future together. Here's what I want you to do, please. I want you to think about you in 20 years from now. You are much more successful than you already are today, and you wish you had mentors or Yodas along the way to help you. And in 20 years, you get this very, very short handwritten letter or a LinkedIn email saying this: "Hope all is well. I also graduated from the same school that you did, and I'm also from the same hometown as you. Please let me know if you have a few minutes to spare for a coffee meeting or a quick Zoom call. Thank you, Chris." Now, if you got that letter or LinkedIn email from someone exactly like you in 20 years, that is 20 years younger than you, would you take that meeting? Of course you would. Please open your eyes. Ask and you'll receive. It's prophetic, and it's been true since the beginning of time. Now, what if I told you that if you did 20 informational meetings, that you would get the job of your dreams? I promise you this works, as you only need to be right in business one time. And when you do this, asking for help, networking strategy that is, don't worry if you don't get a response, because as Michael Jordan said, I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. Now, the second of 3 networking tips is, what do you talk about in this meeting or any meeting for the rest of your life when you first meet somebody in business for the first time? Well, what you do is you bond before business. Years ago, I couldn't get a job or customers because I would go to interviews or meetings with customers, and I would jump right into talking about business. Then one day, after getting rejected over and over and over again, I told myself, I don't care if I get this job. I'm just going to be me. And I talked about the weather and sports, and I was just myself, and it worked out over and over again. And it's just like dating. And I was the worst at dating. But do you remember that date that you had when you did not treat it like an interview? You were just yourself, and it worked out. So just be you. And so, what do you talk about in a meeting when you have a first meeting with somebody for the first time? Well, you talk about what you have in common with them. How do you do that? Well, what you can do is you can go to their LinkedIn profile and see if you have anything in common with them. Or better yet, go to their Twitter profile and see who they follow. Now, if they follow baseball players, I gotta get my bat here. If they follow baseball players and you're passionate about baseball, then you can talk about baseball or any sport, because sports and the entertainment industry is great boardroom talk. Now, if they follow something else that you're also passionate about, talk about that. And then about 10 minutes into your networking meeting, the person you're meeting with will very politely say, "Why are we meeting?" Then you mention that you are passionate about making a career change, and you ask them for advice as they were once you. And of course, they're going to help you if you ask. Then, at the end of that meeting, thank them profusely, of course, for their time, and ask them if they can introduce you to someone in their company that might be hiring, or someone that went to the same school or is from the same hometown that might be hiring. This works, I promise you. And if you don't believe me, think about all of the people that started their careers in the mailroom without an education and how they networked when they delivered the mail to company executives. They chat about, did you see the game last night? Or how was your weekend? They networked. And here are some examples of people that started in the mailroom without an education, but they networked and became the CEO or business icons. David Geffen, who owns a third of DreamWorks with Steven Spielberg. Helen Gurley Brown, who was the former editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine. Simon Cowell from American Idol. And Sidney Weinberg, who was the CEO of Goldman Sachs for decades. The third networking tip is to keep in touch by adding value, by emailing them once a month a write-up that you made, or forward an interesting article that's additive to their career. And make sure to book another meeting with them every 6 months. Let's now discuss 3 interviewing tips. The first one is help the interviewer with their career during the interview. Now, before all meetings, we need to think about what is important to the person that you're interviewing with. Well, most people that you interview with want one of 3 things. They want to make more money, they want to get promoted, or they want to enjoy their work. So in your interview, enjoy the meeting and pretend you're talking to your aunt or uncle. Now, in terms of how to help them get promoted or help them make more, Sun Tzu once said that every battle is won before it's been fought. So before your interview, think about how can I help them? If they work in sales, then use the networking skills we spoke about and find 5 potential customers for them. And in your meeting, after you bond with them, pull out a piece of paper that contains 5 potential customers for them. And tell them that you would love to introduce these 5 prospects that you met when networking to the person that you're interviewing with. Who does that? And if you think that's a lot of work, then please ask yourself, how badly do you want that job? One meeting can change your life. Now, what if the person you're meeting with works in operations? Well, what you can do is you can beta test a cool new app or a website or a software product that helps them in their organization save money. And you can write a 1-pager on the products that you beta tested and give it to them during the meeting as well. Well, what if it's a person that works in HR, for example? Well, you can write a 1-pager on a few new non-LinkedIn websites that you found that can help a human resources executive and give them that 1-pager during the interview. What if it's the finance department or you're interviewing for an investment job? Well, give them a 1-pager on your thoughts on a stock that is undervalued. And on the 1-pager, discuss your target price and more. And at the bottom of all of these 1-pagers that I mentioned, please put your name, cell number, and email, because the interviewer might show the 1-pager to others, or they might just leave it on their desk and a colleague will see it. Better yet, put the 1-pager on the other side of your resume. The second interview tip is to follow up after the interview. Within 1 hour of completion of the meeting, please send them a very short thank you email. And do this quickly, please, before they fill in their internal report on why they thought what they thought of you. And so the subject line of the email should be this: thank you. And the contents should be short, because less is more. For example, the contents of the email should be this: Joanne, many thanks for the meeting today. I enjoyed our conversation. Please find attached a copy of a few one-page PDFs that I created for you that we spoke about. Then what you do is you end the email with, "Thanks a lot, your future boss." Moving on to the third interview. Okay, I'm completely kidding. That was awful dad humor. I'm sorry. At the end, you end with something like this. "Thanks a lot, Chris." All right, the third interview tip is to use strength words, transition words, and frameworks. Strength words include teamwork or passionate about the role. When you brag, you can say this. This is the humble way to brag in an interview. And you have to talk about your accomplishments. You have to. You can say this. "I'm humbled to say that, blah, blah, blah." And you'll see that the interviewer is going to write down the word humble or passionate or teamwork, strength words, on their notepad when you mention those words. And also use transition words if you need to buy time to think of the answer, like in terms of, moving on to. Or what you can do is you can memorize a few frameworks like the SWOT analysis, SWOT, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when they ask you about a business topic, you can say this. "Well, from a SWOT analysis perspective, I'll start with the strengths. The strengths are blah, blah, blah. In terms of," these are transition words too, "in terms of the weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. Moving on to the opportunities, which are blah, blah, blah. And lastly, the threats are blah, blah, blah." And this buys you time to think of the answer, and it shows that you can structure your answers as well. Let's talk about LinkedIn profile optimization tip number 1 of 3, which is whatever job you're passionate about, include those search engine optimization words, meaning use SEO keywords in your title and in the summary section of your LinkedIn profile. And when it comes to your summary section, please write it with the frame of mind that the person reading it is announcing you as a keynote speaker, meaning make the summary section on your LinkedIn profile your bio. And I used to have my own column in Inc. magazine, and my editor told me, "Chris, never have more than 3 sentences in one paragraph, and always write at an 8th grade level, which is my maturity level anyways." So include the job title you're most passionate about and the sector a few times in the summary section. For example, if you want to get hired for a Python programming job, use the word Python in your title on LinkedIn and also in your summary section. The second LinkedIn tip is to get at least 10 written recommendations about you on LinkedIn from people that you've worked for or with, or teachers or classmates. And you'll find that many people that make CEO have many recommendations on their LinkedIn profiles because they asked. The third LinkedIn tip is for you to become a thought leader, okay? Become a business thought leader by thinking like a thought leader, like the Rodin sculpture, "I think, therefore I am." And what I want you to do is write an article or a post in LinkedIn once per week on the sector that you want to work in, meaning what you're most passionate about. And when people see your LinkedIn profile, they will think of you as a proactive thought leader in the job or sector that you're most passionate about. And so follow these 9 tips right here, please. And I promise you that the chances of you getting your dream job will increase materially. And don't forget to be upbeat and speak with passion in your interviews or your networking meetings. Because as Maya Angelou once said, people might not remember what you said, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. Just be yourself, and I promise you'll do well. Thank you. My goals for my students are, number 1, to walk through walls, to do whatever it takes to help my students live their lives on their own terms. And number 2, to help my students reach their full potential so they can stop feeling uninspired, underappreciated, and certainly underpaid. And so today what I want to do is I want to help you get the job of your dreams, okay? And the 9 tips that I talked about a second ago in that opening video that I played, this is me live now, the 9 tips I just talked about all have many templates in my MBA program. And what I do is I actually provide my students in my MBA program with many templates and tools so that you can get your dream job or take your career or startup to the next level. Now, the way I teach is I teach based on my own real-life practical experience and not based on theory. Now, in terms of my background, I graduated from McGill University with a Bachelor of Commerce degree in 1994. And then what I did was I worked in the tech sector in financial consulting at Accenture from 1994 to 1998. And along the way, I started many side hustles. Now, I changed careers eventually to focus more so on teaching. And my marketing team put up that slide. I apologize. Let me go back a slide there. That's not me. Okay. So then I got my MBA in finance from Columbia University in New York City. And then I worked at Goldman Sachs. And what I also did was I worked in the hedge fund industry at Citadel when I moved to San Francisco here in the Bay Area to invest in tech companies. I then started my own hedge fund and I worked in the venture capital sector. And I've actually sat on many boards over the years and I've started a bunch of companies in my career. It's getting hot in here with all the lights, eh? Okay. Now, one of the most complex interviewing processes I went through is when I was interviewing with Goldman Sachs. And quite often you have to interview 40 or more times to get a job there. They certainly don't hire the smartest people because I got a job there. But after I got that job at Goldman, I also interviewed many candidates. In fact, in my career, I've conducted more than 1,000 interviews. And that's about 1 interview per week for more than 20 years. And so I know exactly what companies look for when you interview to work there. And I promise you that humbly, nobody can help you more than I can during our one-on-one confidential Zoom meetings in terms of interview and career coaching. Now, I've also participated as a guest lecturer at Stanford's Graduate School of Business many times. And I've been on many panels there as well in their MBA program as a judge in venture capital startup events at Stanford. And I've also mentored many students on campus at Stanford's MBA program as part of their MBA curriculum. So how did I go? I'm going to skip this slide here in the middle, sorry. So how did I go from the venture capital sector to teaching? Well, I'm on the board of a wonderful East Palo Alto charity called the Limo Foundation. And in East Palo Alto, the high school graduation rate is only 40%. And all of these wonderful students right here have deadbeat fathers. So on the weekends, what I would do is I would teach these students for free, of course, and nothing made me happier than seeing them gain the confidence to succeed beyond their wildest expectations. And so what drives me is helping my students succeed. Nothing else matters. And so I wanted to help these students here. So what I did was I created a 1-day short class for free for them, of course, 6 years ago. Feels like yesterday. And the name of that 6-hour or that course I made 6 years ago for them was called An Entire MBA in 1 Day. And so what I did was I helped them to understand business and I boosted their confidence. And I even gave them a certificate of completion, which what led me to create my 300 to 500 hour 1-year MBA degree program, which I launched a couple of years ago. And the degree, actually, my MBA program looks like this. Okay, and my students inspire me so much, and it's my raison d'être, my purpose, and it's similar to the diploma I gave them as well, the certificate you see right there. Give me 1 second, get some water. Thanks. All right. So life all comes down to a few short moments, and back in 2016, the day after I taught these wonderful students, what I did was I put up a camera in my house to share what I taught them to anybody online. And that 8-hour course is called An Entire MBA in 1 Course, and it's made millions. And I'm humbled to say that my courses have generated more than $10 million in revenue, and I have more than 1 million students in every country. And I use a lot of the profits to build schools with my students. It's my purpose. And so I visited Rwanda this past summer to build our first school with Vital, who graduated from my Platinum MBA program last year. And next year what we're going to do is we're going to build our second school in Kenya, then in Nigeria the year after that, all with my students, of course. So then what I did was I actually quit the venture capital industry, and I created a 1-year, 300 to 500 hour MBA program that I teach online. And we're now going into our 3rd year of doing the program. So I quit venture capital, and I spend all my time now helping my MBA students take their careers to the next level. And I also spend a lot of time creating brand new content. Now, at the end of this slide presentation here, I'm going to take your questions through YouTube chat or on Zoom. So please keep typing your questions. Good morning, Manas. I see you there. Hope you're doing well. Nick, good morning to you as well. Now, what I'm going to do is when I open up Zoom later on today, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. This call is never going to end until there's no more questions. Okay. And my record is 12 hours straight without leaving this seat. Well, I stand now, but leaving this space here. So let's see if we can break that record. Okay, so let's now discuss how to think about the skills that you need to develop in order to ensure that you have a great job in the future. Well, we got to ask ourselves, number 1, what are we good at? Number 2, what do you love to do? And number 3, or threeth, as my son said, can you combine what you love with the skills or roles that will be in demand in the future economy? And so Mark Twain once said, the 2 most important days in your life are number 1, the day you're born, and number 2, the day you find out why. Now, in my career, I've met with and worked with many billionaires and multimillionaires. And the amount of money that they make is not what impresses me, because many of them are depressed as they compare themselves to those that make much, much more. And so when you look into your neighbor's bowl, you don't look to see if she or he has more than you. You look to see if you can help them if they don't have enough. And what drives me is helping my students. Now, what impresses me the most about many successful people is that they love what they do and they never did it for the money. And I love doing what I'm doing right now. This is our 163rd weekly webcast. I'm going to keep doing this forever. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to all of you that celebrate Thanksgiving today. All right, but in terms of chasing money, if you chase money, you lose your dreams and often your money. But when you chase your dreams and you don't give a damn what people think of you and you never give up, then something wonderful happens. Your dreams come true and the money follows accidentally. It always does. And so I ask all of you here today, and I say it with love in my heart, if you were given a month off from work and you can't go to school and you can't work and you're not allowed to travel, what would you do with your time? This is your life and nobody else's, and you've got one shot at it. And please don't pick a career to impress parents or friends or others. Otherwise, you'll always be living your life on someone else's terms. And someone else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I love that quote. I got that from Les Brown. Now, I don't care how old or young my students are, as you're never too old or too young to change careers. And so my purpose, my raison d'être, is to serve and help my students succeed. Now, in my MBA program, I'm like your humble waiter, and I proposed to my wife in this restaurant, so I stole the menu. Actually, I don't know how I got the menu. I think I ordered it online. But I'm like your, in my MBA program, I'm like your humble waiter. And when you go to a restaurant, you can look at the whole menu, but you can only choose a few items. And so I'm your humble career and business consultant as I provide you with a menu of all business skills and all business careers to choose from in my MBA program. And I want you to pick the career that you're most passionate about, because if you have passion in your career, then you can put your dent in the universe. And quite often, the problem with choosing a career is we often focus on how do I get that job instead of why do I want that job? And so I help my students find their why. I help them find their why in my MBA program as I expose you to countless frameworks and tools or arrows in your quiver in order to help you decide why. And then we discuss and I help you to execute and figure out how to get that job or change careers or start a company without using a penny of your own money. Now, I can help you get your dream job, but all I ask, please, is that you first understand why you want that dream job or why you want to change careers. And my favorite students are the ones that are frustrated with where they are in their careers, because frustration leads to breakthroughs in life. And career frustration leads to reinvention. And I think it's healthy to feel frustrated if you choose to look at it that way. So let me humbly help you take your career to the next level. I can help you accomplish much more every single day, and I can help you create your own blueprint for success if you want. Now, in my MBA program, there are 5 components, each with the goal of arming you with all the tools that you need to succeed. The first of the 5 tracks or pillars in my MBA program is called the Personal Growth Track. Welcome to the Personal Growth Track of the program, where you will develop a crystal clear image of the person and future you truly desire. You will learn how to identify and create a blueprint for the future that you want. Now, in this track, you will redefine your image of yourself and grow your confidence by pushing your limits. You'll also be able to market yourself far more effectively because you will have developed the inner belief that fuels your dreams. You will gain improved communication skills that will have a lasting positive impact, both personally and professionally, for the rest of your life, so that you can get the dream job or change careers or get promoted and so much more. Get the confidence and tools you need to create the life that you want. Make the best decision you can make for your future and join me. Thank you. In addition to doing what you're most passionate about in life, of course, we need to consider what type of skills will be in demand in the future and who, do you know, from a networking perspective, can help you get your foot in the door. And I'll help you network to get your dream job, as many of my students have already done so. Now, in my MBA program, in the finance lessons, when we analyze stocks, we ask ourselves this: in 5 years, will this company and the sector it's in be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? Similarly, we have to have the same foresight and think like elite athletes. This is my Canadian prop of the day. I'm proud Canadian. And by the way, in Canada, we celebrate Thanksgiving. I think it's 6 weeks earlier than the US. And historically, the reason is because the harvest is earlier in Canada because it's cold, eh? So similarly, we need to have the same foresight and think like elite athletes. And Wayne Gretzky famously said, the reason he was a successful hockey player was because he did not skate to where the puck is. Rather, he skated to where the puck is going to be. And by the same token, when we invest in companies, we need to invest in companies that people are going to like. And the same thing with a career. We need to be passionate about what we're doing, and we need to choose a career passion so we can build products or services that people are going to like. So we have our first mover advantage. So being a contrarian, let me put this down here. Being a contrarian in all aspects of business, it really helps us to be successful and long-term focused as well. And so we have to ask ourselves, do we want to work in a big company or a small company? Now, in big companies, you'll usually do one of 2 different roles that you can specialize in. But in smaller companies, you're required to be much more multifaceted, meaning doing many things at once, a jack of all trades at times. Now, if you choose to work in a bigger company, I want you to think about where you fit in. And do you want to be seen as just a number? And how do you stand out when you start as just a number? Now, also, how can you acquire the skills needed to ensure your success? And should you go to a traditional school or a specialized program or an online program? And of course, you have to look at the cost of education as well and understand that many traditional schools teach you theory that won't help you in the real world. And regardless of what path you choose, your network is your net worth, as I discussed with the 9 tips to start today's 163rd weekly webcast. And so introducing the Haroun MBA for your career. Now, if you apply what I teach in my MBA program, it will help you get your dream job in all 5 pillars of the program, meaning finance and accounting, economics management and strategy, entrepreneurship, sales, marketing and communications, and personal growth. And so I want to take you through each of the pillars of the MBA to explain how it will help you get the job you want and achieve more in your career. And as I do so, I have to say something with love in my heart again. I can take my students to the water, but I can't force you to drink. And so I want you to practice the concepts I teach you with each other. And in my MBA program, our network is amazing. We have students all over the world that help each other. They practice interviewing with each other. They apply the concepts taught in the finance courses, the economics courses, strategy courses, etc. You got to practice because, as Tony Robbins said, repetition is the mother of all skill. Now, all of the lessons provided inside the Haroun MBA are practical, relevant, and modern, meaning these strategies are being used right now and will continue to succeed in the future. And I know they work because they're the exact strategies I've used to succeed humbly and continue to use today. Now, let's kick it off with pillar number 1 of 5, which is the finance and accounting part of the MBA program. All right. So we cover everything from managing your personal finances to starting your own hedge fund, as well as basic and advanced portfolio management, venture capital, options, derivatives, and everything in between. And I just released this morning my options course as well, and it's in the MBA curriculum as well in a lot more detail. Now, if you've already signed up for the Gold and Platinum MBA program, you're going to be getting an email from me in the next couple days or so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to host a 2-day event for free for everybody that's bought Gold and Platinum over the years, or anybody that buys for next year. A free 2-day event where I'm going to run you through options in 2 12-hour sessions. Okay, it's going to be in early December. And I'm going to teach you everything from options in scratch. It'll be very interactive as well. I'd love to take your questions. It's the hardest course and content I've ever worked on in my life. But in general, the type of learning that I teach would normally take you years of work experience to obtain, but it's available at your convenience inside the Haroun MBA degree program. And you'll learn how to research, analyze, and trade stocks using my 100-step process to analyze fundamentals, valuation, and technical analysis. And you're going to be positioned to outperform the market in the long run using the many financial models that I share in the program. Now, these easy-to-apply lessons and the simplicity of the method we use allows anyone that takes the program the ability to go from being financially illiterate to a professional investor. Now, if you're trying to get a role or a job in the financial services sector, the strategies you'll learn will make you stand out from graduates of traditional schools. In fact, the things I teach you to do in the program are specifically designed to help you compete against traditional graduates head-to-head. Now, the second of 5 pillars in the MBA program is called Economics, Management, and Strategy. And this section is full of frameworks, case studies, and research systems that give you actionable lessons that can impact your future career immediately. And by understanding the direction of specific sectors or industries within the economy, you're able to predict the jobs and roles that will be in demand in the future. And knowing the conditions to look for will direct you towards what skills to develop based on the view and your view of the future economy inside my MBA curriculum. And inside the economics management and strategy part of the MBA, you'll learn practical skills that you need to succeed in any economic environment. And we examine how governments treat money by discussing fiscal policy, monetary policy, and how the world works. And we also talk about what that means to future employment in companies of every size. And we also take a deep dive into cryptocurrencies, and we consider how they will impact the financial systems in the future. And what does it mean for your business? And will you be accepting specific cryptocurrencies in your business? Also, what types of businesses can you create around NFTs and blockchain technology? And our student body and alumni base is amazing. They inspire me so much. And I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago, I interviewed on my webcast, you can go to YouTube channel, check it out. I interviewed Peyton Kalawahea, who's one of my amazing students, who's now an expert in NFTs and blockchain technology and gaming. And you can go to his website, company he just started, called GameReport.io, G-A-M-E, report.io. He inspires me so much, as do all my students from all over the world. Now, all the lessons in the MBA program have their own workbooks, so you can easily apply all the lessons. And the workbooks for all 100 classes, and the classes are 3 hours long each on average, the workbooks are available in 3 different document formats. Those are PDF, Word, and Google Docs. And you can take the program on a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, as well as your iPhone or Android handset. I've optimized it for the largest total addressable market. And so you'll be able to use what you learn to perform better in many of the roles you work in the future. And again, the student body is amazing. They're amazing. They're great. They help each other out a lot. Our next class starts January 10th, 2022. And I have one rule. And the only rule that I mentioned at the very beginning of the first class is no bullying is allowed. Because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And there's no such thing as a stupid question. Only a stupid answer. Okay. And we've never had any bullies as well in the program. I love my students so much. Okay. So the third of 5 pillars in the MBA program is the entrepreneurship track. Even if you work in a company, this part of the program is going to help you a lot in order to identify the gaps in a company and turn weaknesses into opportunities. And also, this part of the program will help you do competitive research to determine present and future demand in any industries. And students love this part of the program because in the third of 4 semesters, we have in the entrepreneurship track, we have a Venture Capital Bootcamp where I teach you how to start companies based on my venture capital experience. And I don't ever want my students to use any of their own money to start companies unless they have it. I teach you how to raise money because in my career, I've raised and managed over $1 billion, humbly. I'm going to teach you all my tricks, but I made a ton of mistakes, and I want you to learn from my mistakes. Okay. So the fourth of 5 components is the sales, marketing, and communications pillar. And every company needs better sales and marketing and how companies communicate their brand message in various sales and promotional campaigns. And so we'll even teach you how to write and film commercials with your iPhone or Android handsets. And this portion of the program can be very valuable because of how many opportunities there are for good sales and marketing people. And the best salespeople in history are great entrepreneurs. That's what an entrepreneur is, a salesperson. The same thing with CEO, they're great salespeople. And I'm going to teach you how to sell. Yeah. My goal is to finish this every day. Okay. And you'll also learn a lot more about personal growth, which is the 5th and final track here. And so inside the personal growth portion of the program, you're able to develop a crystal clear image of the person and the future that you truly desire. And understanding what you really want will determine the type of business owner you will want to be. And having massive goals will also impact how you create and grow your career. And there's a famous Canadian named James Cameron. Of course, he directed Avatar. Can't wait till the next Avatar comes out next year. He also directed Titanic. And he once said that if you set your goals so high and you fail, you still fail above everyone else's expectations. Not that other people's opinions matter. And by remaining a lifelong learner with me, you're able to grow your career in the direction that you choose. Now, the skills that you'll learn inside this section will elevate you both personally and professionally. And all new content that I ever add to the MBA program, you're going to get for free forever. And I add a lot of new lectures every single year. And so everything you need to accelerate your career and get the job you want is in this program. You know, whether you're just getting started or you're trying to break into a new industry, I've got you covered. And I teach you how to get promoted in your current company and how to network and find a job. And I also help you develop brand new skills to start in a brand new industry. I even teach you how to create a side business while working in your current job and how to stay ahead of the trends to ensure long-term career success. And all of this while continuing to grow your network to increase your professional reach. So welcome to Live Gold. So for the Live Gold program, you get more than 300 hours of lessons. And students will have lifetime access to this content, including many hours of brand new lessons that I add every single year at no additional cost in order to ensure that this is the most up-to-date MBA degree program on the market. You also get more than 200 hours of live Q&A, plus there's a 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee starts on January 10th of 2022, and that's the day we start classes. So if you secure your spot today and buy today, you have 77 days between today until February 10th to get 100% of your money back. That's how confident I am in this program. Again, classes will start on January 10th, 2022. Welcome to Live Platinum, which is Live Gold plus much more. With Live Platinum, you get everything you get with Live Gold, plus 3 hours of one-on-one confidential coaching Zoom meetings with me, spread out over the year on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And Platinum starts also on January 10th, 2022, and the same money-back guarantee, of course, applies. Now, before you make your final decision, I'd like to take a short opportunity to compare the costs of other options so that you can understand how you're helping me with my mission to make education accessible, affordable, and practical. All right, number one, time for a prop. I love using props to teach. All right. Number one, a traditional MBA degree program from an accredited university costs, wait for it, hold on a second. It's fun doing these things live. It costs $100,000. Okay, this is fake money. But a traditional MBA costs you $100,000 plus time of 2 to 3 years. That's a lot, eh? And this is actually a financial hazard that many people get trapped in, and they end up paying off debts for many years. And the worst thing is, they teach you theories and concepts that were already outdated last century, and they won't serve your purposes in the future. In fact, the cost of the Haroun MBA degree program is less than 2 to 3 hours of attending these schools, but it promises to deliver far more in the way of the lessons you'll use to make more money and have a better life overall, or your money back. And many of our existing graduates already had an MBA degree from top schools before they took the program. And they report to me that they still reference the templates, lessons, and frameworks provided inside the Haroun MBA program. And students say they learn more in 1 month, just the first month of my program, than the entire program at traditional MBA schools. Number two, other online education costs $10,000 to $25,000 plus time of 1 to 2 years. And I see these programs popping up and promising you all the benefits of a traditional program. However, when you get inside, they often leave a lot of gaps in your learning. Additionally, they remain trapped in the idea of accreditation, and as a result, they also tend to teach outdated concepts and theories that are no longer relevant. I'm not a degree mill. I teach you stuff you can use in the real world right away. So if you're interested in just getting a certificate, my program's not for you. I say it with love in my heart. Now, these programs, these other online programs, might promise lessons from founders of Fortune 500 companies. But inside, you'll actually end up wondering where or when these lectures will actually become available. And so I'm a Columbia University MBA graduate. I've worked in investing, consulting, venture capital, mergers and acquisitions. I've also started many of my own companies. And this allows me to guarantee that what you're learning will be relevant to the modern workplace. Now, if you buy gold or platinum before November 29th, you'll save $499 for gold or for platinum, and this is the last time that gold or platinum will be on sale before we start on January 10th, 2022. Plus, if you buy the gold or platinum program, you'll get free access to my new options course and my complete presentation and public speaking course. And also you'll get 3 additional one-on-one Zoom calls with me. And you also get access to our Slack channel to network with current students, as well as access to our LinkedIn alumni group, etc. And if you buy gold or platinum, you're welcome to join us on Saturday, December 18th, here in the San Francisco Bay Area for our annual alumni networking event. And so I rented an entire amazing museum, and I'd love to meet you in person, spend the day together, bring your family and have breakfast and lunch on me at the museum and dinner on me during the evening as well. And then on December 19th, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be doing 10 hours of in-person one-on-ones with my students. And it's at a certain hotel where a lot of my students are flying in from all over the world to attend the event. And gold and platinum students from this year and last year will be there as well to network with you. And you'll love my students. They're great. They inspire me so much. And so you can buy gold or platinum today at a savings of $499. And what you can do is you can go to harounventures.com/ all lowercase MBA now. Okay, and I'll go there in a second with you. And this offer expires again on November 29th. And again, this is the very last time it's going to be on sale. So let me actually pull up the address here. So I'll throw in a screen here in the bottom. And I'll go to picture in picture and I'll show you how to access this. All right, give me a second here. All right, so go to my website and you can click here for the coupon, or you can go directly to what I just mentioned, which is harounventures.com/MBA now, all lowercase. This is not what's supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to spell ventures with 2 S's, okay? I'm the worst salesperson ever, eh? All right, so go to harounventures.com/MBA now, and you can see at the bottom of the screen there too. And when you go to this website, you can read up on the program, and you can purchase the program, and there's also payment plans. And so if you click here on gold, and you get $499 off if you buy this version, or you can click here and do 3 payments as well. Again, for gold and platinum, you can access all this stuff at this website here. You can look at the web address there on the bottom. And again, this sale ends in 4 days, and this is the last time it's going to be on sale until we go live January 10th. Yeah, you'll love it. It'll be fun. All right, give me 1 second. And what I want to do in a minute is I want to open it up for questions, obviously, and I also want to have you join me on Zoom. Okay, so if you want to join me on Zoom, I'll give you the address in a minute or so, okay? Now, if you want, what you can do is you can type questions now, or what you can do is you can email me questions to support@harounventures.com. Now, before I start taking your questions, I want to talk about some FAQs, frequently asked questions, okay? The first question I get is, how are gold, meaning live gold, we rebranded it to live gold from just gold. How are live gold and live platinum different from each other? Well, both programs start, and you're in the same class together, on January 10th, 2022. And both classes give you 300 hours of lessons, plus 200 hours, more than 200 hours of live Q&A with me. And my team, they index all the Q&A, and they add it so you have access to it forever, and all new content is added forever. The question I also get quite often is, do I need to attend all classes? No way. This is your MBA on your terms. So in order to graduate from the program, there's 100 quizzes after all 100 classes. And the quizzes take you a couple minutes to finish. And all you have to do is get over 50% on half of the quizzes. And I set it up that way because I want you to only take the stuff that's relevant to your career or based on your career passions. Okay. Now, next question I get is, what if you miss a class? It's okay because everything is online and pre-recorded anyway, And we also add the live Q&A as well immediately after we finish. Now, in terms of the time zones, so I teach in 2 different time zones as follows. Time zone 1 is Mondays and Tuesdays starting at 9 a.m. Time zone 2 is also Mondays and Tuesdays, but starting at 4 p.m. And I also have an MBA office hours every Thursday for my gold and platinum students. And it starts after this one starts every Thursday. Yeah. And there's also one-on-one lessons every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Yeah. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take questions. And while I take questions, if anybody wants to ask questions on Zoom, I'll show you how you can access Zoom. So what you do is you go to harounventures.com/Zoom, all lowercase. Okay, and you click this link. If you do this, please mute your YouTube, the volume on your YouTube video though, so we don't get feedback. Thank you. And what I'll do is I'll get this all set up, and I'll start by reading questions first here, and then we'll go to Zoom after that. So let me launch the meeting now just to tee it up to get people signed up for it here. Okay. All right. And while that's getting ready, what I'll do is I'm going to go directly to Wirecast here. And I teach you how to use Wirecast as well, and OBS, and also Twitch. Lots of social media platforms I teach you in the program. It's a lot of fun. All right. The most important stuff is the questions from my wonderful students. All right. So I'll start from the top here. So the first one I've got is Marwan. Hey, Marwan, how are you? Hello, Chris. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Is it okay to invest 10% of my portfolio in Reits? Because I feel like the 5% rule is not enough to benefit from the real estate market. Thanks. Yeah. So I usually recommend not having more than 10 or 20% of your entire portfolio in a certain asset class. And so you can certainly have more than 5% if you want in Reits. And Reits, for those who aren't familiar with it, stands for Real Estate Investment Trusts. And I'm doing a massive retail section to the MBA, which I'm adding next summer. And the great thing about Reits is they usually have high dividend yields because by law in most countries, if you create a REIT, and you can access REITs like any other tickers, if you create a REIT, you have to pay out 90% of your profits in terms of dividends. Yeah. But I think a better investment than REITs is real estate, meaning buying your own house or apartment. And it took me until my 30s before I can afford an apartment. I lived in New York City back then. It was fun. And I wasted so much money on rent. And the best investment you can make is your house because you get great tax benefits all over the world. And also, it appreciates in value. And think about how much money we are wasting on rent. If you rent a place for $600 a month for 50 years, then that's between $5 and $10 million, including compound interest in 50 years. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Nick wrote, hey, Nick. Nick wrote, hey, Chris, I'm currently on a gap year between college and high school. Cool. Do you have any recommendations on how I can spend my time productively aside from volunteering and internships? Yeah. Whew. I think it's a great time to start a side hustle. Great time. And what I would do is I would think about what you're most passionate about in life and start a company around that. But don't start your company until you've written a thorough business plan, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And if you want, you can sign up for my MBA program during your gap year. I'd love to have you in the program. And in the 3rd of 4 semesters, there's a Venture Capital Bootcamp. And I teach you, based on my experience working in venture capital and starting many companies, how to start your own company as well. Yeah. I teach you how to raise money as well. Yeah. All right. Next up, Salah wrote, hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise. Does learning a language like German significantly improve your job prospects and your resume? Yeah. Of course, it depends where you live. And I took business German in undergrad for a while. I dropped the course. I spent too much time partying and stuff. No regrets, but I dropped the course. And I found that, and I took Mandarin as well during the evenings. It's so hard to learn a second language when you're older. It's hard. But I think the best way to learn it, and I have a lot of friends in Canada that immigrated from the Middle East, and the way they learned English and French in Quebec is they would watch television and turn on subtitles. Right. So, yeah. With Squid Games, it doesn't work, though, for me. I tried. Yeah. It's hard. But it all depends where you live. If you're in Germany, of course it matters. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Persona non grata, PNG. Good to see you again. Question number 1. I hope you're fine. I'm great. Thank you. An Italian public company is voting next week to perform a dilutive capital increase of 25,000 euros, corresponding to 250,000 new shares. Those shares, give me one second, sorry. Those shares shall be used as a golden handcuff, meaning a stock grant plan in 2021 to 2023 to the board of directors. Shares are already overpriced. Is this good or bad for shareholders? Thank you, yours. Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword, because you certainly want employees and board members to be financially motivated. And sometimes you'll see CEOs give themselves $1 billion in stock, and investors don't care. They're happy that happens because the stock has gone up a lot. And so the wonderful thing about being a publicly traded company is that as a shareholder and CEO or manager at the company, your incentives are completely aligned with shareholders, as long as it's not extremely dilutive. Yeah. All right. And for those of you not familiar with golden handcuffs, what that means is this. It means if you work at a company and you're given shares in a company, and you're not allowed to cash in those shares, meaning vest, or until they vest in 4 years. So if every year you're given shares and they vest, or you can use them 4 years from now, it's like a waterfall effect. And so if I quit next year, I lose the shares I got 4 years ago. If I quit in 3 years, I lose the shares I got last year. And so you're stuck. It's a golden handcuff. And I think it's healthy for companies because, again, if you as an employee are focused on adding shareholder value, then your interests are completely aligned with investors. Okay. And then Zoralina said, hey, Chris, always looking forward to your weekly forecast. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Next up, we have Peter. This is the 4th time Peter's joined us. Great to see you and welcome again. So Peter is from Romania. He's 19 years old. He's a big soccer fan as well. Great to see you. So Peter wrote here, hey, Chris, what is your opinion on drop shipping and affiliate marketing? Yeah, I'd be careful. Make sure to be cognizant of inventory concerns. I've done it before. I used to import a lot of stuff from AliExpress.com, which is an Alibaba website, and I would sell it over eBay with my kids. We had this awesome side hustle, and we did really well. In fact, the way they bought their iPhones, all my kids, is based on the profits we made from selling iPhone cases. Then something bad happened. I got overconfident, and I ordered too many cases, and somebody else entered the marketplace and was selling them at a cheaper price. So just be very careful of inventory, please. Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got the Financial Advisor Show. How are you? Chris, you're one of a kind, really amazing best instructor. Thank you so much for being here and saying that. I'm very humbled. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And then Peter wrote here also, do you think that this Black Friday thing will exist in the future with the same hype around it? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's starting to transition to something called Cyber Monday in the United States, where people get coupons, whatever. And it's a new thing that was started about 10 years ago. And for those of you overseas that aren't familiar with Black Friday, and I wasn't when I lived in Canada before I moved to the States, the way it works is this. Retail is such a tough business. Like, try competing with Amazon or Walmart. It's hard. And what happens is retail companies are in the red all year long, meaning they're losing money. And then what happens is they go into the black, meaning they're starting to make money by the end of November. And so Black Friday is always the day after Thanksgiving, meaning the day after today. And what happens, there are doorbuster sales. So if you camp out, line up at Best Buy or consumer electronics stores or Target, whatever, or even Walmart, there's a limited number of products you can buy when they open the doors the next morning at half price, ridiculous price. And what I used to do when I worked in the hedge fund industry was every single Thanksgiving evening, the night before Black Friday, I would go to all the major stores in the Bay Area, all the big ones, and I would count how many people in line, and I would compare it to previous years, because that was an awesome way to help me understand the health of the economy from my channel checks perspective. Yeah. But I think it's going to be around forever. It has to be. But I think what's going to happen is that it's going to morph more so into a Cyber Monday thing, meaning this upcoming Monday we can buy stuff online. And there's a lot of front running and game theory going on this year, more so than previous years, where people are starting to offer Black Friday sales at the end of October. Yeah. Okay. All right. In COVID consideration, I hope people wear masks, of course, when they go out at Black Friday. Yeah. And if you live in Germany, I'm so sorry to hear about the lockdown, and it's brutal. I got 2 shots from Pfizer last year in April, May, or this past year in April and May. In terms of the booster, I'm still on the fence because I have had some side effects. Yeah. Okay. And then Peter said here, also forgot to say hello to you and everyone here. How you doing? Good to see you, buddy. All right, next up, Zoralina is hi again. My question is about the current distribution issues. Would that be enough to trigger the VIX to pick? Yeah. And so for those of you not familiar with the VIX, it's something I talk about a lot in my options course, which just came out today or yesterday. The VIX is a fear index, and it was created by the CBOE, the Chicago Board of Exchange in Chicago. And it's an options contract that measures how volatile investors think the S&P 500 is going to be in the next month or so. And if volatility is high, that means high fear. And when volatility jumps, the VIX index, you can type up ticker VIX. When the VIX spikes to over 70, it feels like the world is ending and everybody sells. But no matter what, when it happens, and it'll happen again, you have to back up the truck and buy lots of stocks. I promise you. Yeah. But the VIX is nowhere near that level right now. There's not that much fear in the market right now. Yeah. It's because rates are basically zero. Yeah. And inflation will become a problem soon, I think. But what's happening is the governments all over the world, they have access to data that we don't really monitor as closely. And the fact that they're not raising rates kind of signals that they're more worried than many investors are about COVID, about Delta, etc. Yeah. And so governments all over the world, they can raise rates right now if they want to stop inflation. But what if COVID gets much, much worse and people don't want to spend money because interest rates are high? Disaster. And the reason why people wouldn't want to spend money if interest rates are high is because they can put their money in the bank and just collect interest. And so what happened was in the early 1980s, the Federal Reserve chairman at the time, God bless me, passed away, named Paul Volcker. What happened was inflation was ridiculous, way worse than it is today. And so he raised interest rates to about 20% in the United States. And of course, that helped stop inflation. But also, the stock market did terrible. Not many companies were started. The housing market was a disaster. And the reason is because if rates are 20%, for example, if I can get 20% no risk by putting my money in the bank, I'm not going to buy stocks. And so there's that inverse relationship between the performance of stocks and interest rates. Yeah, it's all relative. E Pronto from Toronto, or as Canadians say, Toronto. E Pronto, and Toronto is cool. Like my son Andrew, he's a massive Drake fan, and he told me he was born in New York City, right? So he's American and Canadian too. We got him his passport, but he's a massive Drake fan, and he said, "Dad, Drake is making Toronto cool." Yeah, Toronto's always cool. So E Pronto from Toronto wrote, "Hi Chris, happy Thanksgiving. I'm surprised you're not taking a day off." And then LOL. Yeah. No, I told myself I'm doing this every Thursday forever, and I'm also vlogging every single day forever. Yeah. This is I'm committed. Okay. Next up, Manas from India wrote, "Good morning, my dear mentor. Good morning to you as well. Hope all is well. Likewise. Big news for you. India is now banning private cryptocurrencies from this week. The market went down 48% overnight and now is recovering. Why is this happening when India has the highest number of crypto users, around 10 million people? What are your thoughts on this one?" Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah. So probably great buying opportunity. So the way that governments think about cryptocurrencies is a lot of governments think that cryptocurrencies is the biggest threat to national security ever. And the reason I say that is because governments don't run at a they don't think of themselves as a business. They always operate at a loss. And taxes never pay enough for all the stuff government needs to spend money on. What governments do, most governments, is they raise money by changing their interest rates. And they do this by issuing bonds, okay, which is basically debt, like a loan from the bank. And so a government, what they can do is they can sell you and to other institutions a bond. And what will happen is you'll invest in this bond because it has a nice return. And then the government, pretend I'm the government, you're an investor. I give you this bond, you give me your money, okay? And I use this money, I take some of it out of circulation, okay, which drives up the interest rates. But I also use some of this money to build bridges, walls, whatever it is, and defend the country, the military, if need be, God forbid. If you assumed, just for fun, and this is a complete stretch of an argument, but I'm doing it to make a point. If you assume that people are no longer going to want to use their own fiat or paper-based currencies, and instead they want to put much more money and all their money in cryptocurrencies, then what you just did was you took away the power of governments to be able to issue debt, to be able to raise money to defend the country, etc. And so that's why I do believe that for many economies, cryptocurrencies are the biggest threat to national security. I do. Yeah. All right. Now, next up, ePronto wrote, what is your take on Splunk CEO? Doug is leaving. Oh my God, I know that. Departure and the subsequent stock a nosedive. Personally, I'm happy. I have a lot of friends that work for Doug. He's a good guy. I'm happy. I love the technology, but the company is badly outperforming and losing ground to its main competitor, DDoG. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't realize that he left. I know that company very well, too well. I'm not a shareholder right now. I had a lot of great friends that worked there and did incredibly well in the IPO. I participated in the IPO in the summer 2012 as well, along with the IPOs of ServiceNow, ticker NOW. Frank Slootman was the CEO. He's now CEO of Snowflake, and I almost led a venture capital round in Snowflake, so I know that one really well. And I remember at that time, Godfrey Sullivan, that guy can sell. He's amazing. He used to be the CEO of Hyperion. That's how I know him. I was the third largest shareholder there years ago when I worked at a hedge fund. He was great. And I've been incredibly impressed with Doug as well. And my friends at the company, they say he's awesome. He's a great salesperson. So what I want to do is I want to show you Doug's profile on LinkedIn. Because when he became CEO of Splunk, of course, I looked him up. I met him at a party at one of my good friends' houses here in Cupertino. And I looked at his profile, and this is going to be a great case study for us because one of the reasons that Doug made CEO is because he got a lot of people to write recommendations for him. And there's other reasons why he made CEO as well. He's a great guy, great leader. But I want to show you because this will be an awesome case study. I think he had like 80 recommendations on LinkedIn. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of today's webcast, you got to get at least 10 recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have work experience, you can get a teacher to write one and a bunch of your friends as well, or classmates. So let's do a quick case study. But first of all, before I go into more detail on this, I want to search if this is publicly disclosed. Okay. Splunk CEO leaving. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I thought he was great. Yeah. So here's what they did. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to interpret this data in real time right now. All right. So the company, what they did, investor relations, is they knew he was leaving. Okay. And what they did was they released very, very good results. Okay. At the same time to kind of offset any sort of investor concern. And it looks like Silver Lake, a big private equity firm here in the Bay Area, they invested $1 billion in the company. And so when you invest $1 billion in a company, you have a lot of say. You might get a board seat, and you might pressure the board to make some decisions. Yeah. I'm surprised at this, though. Very surprised. So I'm going to show you Doug Merritt's profile on LinkedIn. This will be a wonderful case study for us. Okay, let's go here, and I will type in, and I'm not connected with him. He's a secondary connection. Doug Merritt. Here he is here. CEO at Splunk. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right, so I want to use this as a case study because when I first heard he was going to be CEO, and we overlapped at Accenture, years ago. I went to his LinkedIn profile, and this is a great case study because his profile is amazing, and he got a lot of recommendations. And that's one of the many reasons why he made CEO. So what you can see here is you see 81 recommendations. I challenge you to find a person on LinkedIn with more recommendations. It's hard. And he did this back in 2011. Most of these recommendations were in 2011. So what was he doing back in 2011? He probably wanted to get a CEO position at that point, which is why he was asking people. Okay, so it might have been his first CEO gig. I think it was his first CEO gig, and that's maybe one of the reasons why he got that job, right? And so if you don't, the problem is that if in business, if you don't remind people of your accomplishments, then nobody knows. And I know it seems like the antithesis of a Canadian to say this, but you have to brag. Right? You have to humbly brag. And if you feel uncomfortable about bragging, you can start by saying, I'm humbled to say that when you're in an interview. But what you can see here is that Doug has got over 80 recommendations, right, from all these great companies. And I guarantee you he asked all these people when he was gunning for CEO years ago in his first CEO gig. Really important. So the takeaway here is that please ask your buddies or people you've worked with over the years or teachers or classmates, whatever, to write recommendations for you. But I am surprised. Now, I'm going to go to sec.gov, and then together we're going to look at the 8K. Now, the way it works is by law, if you're in the U.S. markets, let me just go here first. If you're in the U.S. markets, on a stock market, you have to disclose important information, okay, to investors. And the way you do that is through what's called an 8K. And an 8K is just a funny name for a press release. And whenever you're doing research on companies, you have to read all the 8Ks. And you also have to read the annual report, which is called the 10K, and the quarterly reports, which is called the 10Q. And don't ever invest in an IPO until you go to this website and read the S1 document, okay? Investment offering. And don't invest in anything ever unless you get an investment offering memorandum. And if your buddy comes up to you and says, hey, do you want to invest in my company? The first thing I want you to ask yourself is, why am I so lucky to be given this opportunity? And I say it with love in my heart because I want to protect all of you. All right, so let's enter in Splunk here. All right. Departure of officers. And by the way, you guys get access to the same information at the same time as all the big mutual funds and hedge funds in the world. Okay, it's something called Regulation FD, or Fair Disclosure, which Eliot Spitzer, who was a senator from New York, passed into law in 2002. Not a big fan of Eliot. You can search why. He's no longer a senator. Okay. If somebody cheats on their wife, you don't want to do business with them. Okay. Next, and this publicly disclosed. Sorry for going there. Sort of. All right. So looks like he's going to be stepping down. Okay. They've got an interim CEO. Okay. So this guy is not going to be a permanent CEO, which means it's probably not Doug's decision. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I have the same access to information that you've got here. Yeah. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so earnings. Wow. Yeah, this is when I'd back up the bloody truck and buy stocks. When I used to work and invest in software and internet companies, whenever a stock got murdered, if I believed in the company longer term, this is when I would buy. Okay? All right, so let's now take a look at the chart, and I'll go through technical analysis with you. I love looking at fundamentals first, valuation second, and technicals third, obviously, because I mentioned that a lot before. Sorry. Splunk. Okay. All right, let's see what this chart looks like, and if there's a great opportunity to buy on weakness when everyone's freaking out. Yeah, okay. So what we've got here, it's tough to see, but what we've got here is there's a gap in the charts, okay? So it's tough to see here. When I use Bloomberg, you can see it more so. There's a gap in the chart. And what happens is when a stock pulls back really, really fast and it's oversold, traders expect mean reversion, or they call it a dead cat bounce. Kind of a dumb name, but it is what it is. And the stock will close that gap eventually. Now, let me take a look first to see the RSI, which is the Relative Strength Index. And when the RSI is around 20, it means oversold and you expect a bounce. Okay, and you expect to bounce because what happens is a lot of hedge funds will cover at that point. Yeah, so this is the most oversold the stock has been in a long time. If you believe in the fundamentals, and I recommend rolling up your sleeves now and doing the work on it. If you believe in the fundamentals and the valuation of this company, you buy. Because what's happening now behind the scenes, I guarantee you, but I don't know anything, okay? I've worked in the industry for a long time. What's happening behind the scenes right now is a lot of investment bankers are calling up big tech firms and saying, hey, look, Splunk is on sale. Do you want to buy it? So that's what happens. Yeah. Of course, I'd have to look through the financials as well. It looks like the quarter was actually fine. The stock probably would have pulled back a lot more if deferred revenue was awful, which it likely wasn't. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and people panic. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is let me just get rid of that thing on the bottom there so I can show you again the RSI. Here we go. Yeah. So it's oversold right now, an RSI of 20, the most oversold it's been in years. I expect a dead cat bounce and for it to close the gap. And I expect a lot of investment bankers to start calling big tech companies, big ones like Oracle, especially Oracle and SAP, and ask them, hey, Splunk is on sale. Do you want to buy it? So I don't know anything, but I'm telling you how hedge funds think. And so right now, technically, it's massive oversold. I expect a dead cat bounce here. Yeah. Of course, I'd have to do more research on it to analyze the fundamentals and the valuation metrics as well. Yeah. And I have friends of the company, and I don't know anything, obviously. Yeah. All right. But thanks for bringing that to my attention. I love stuff like that. All right. And Warren Buffett once said the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. People freak out. Buffett once said that he goes to his favorite steakhouse restaurant in Omaha every Friday, and he pays $10 for a steak. And he said, if the price of that steak drops to $9, am I going to buy less of it? Yeah. All right. Next question is about Elon Musk. Before I go there, so Elon Musk, he's very unemotional in business, and that's one of the many reasons he's so incredibly successful. Now, what we just talked about with Splunk, you saw a lot of emotional traders selling the stock, and it's oversold now. And the best investors, and I've worked for lots of billionaires over the years at hedge funds, they're very unemotional. When things go well and one of our companies gets acquired, when I used to work on the trading floor, there's no high fives going around from the CEO of the firm. Very unemotional. Similarly, when we owned a stock that pre-announced negatively and we lost a lot of money, these billionaire founders don't freak out. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, buying opportunity, I guess. And Elon Musk last year in March of 2020, when everybody was selling stocks and the VIX was above 80, had an all-time high, Elon Musk was backing up the truck, so to speak, and buying a lot of shares in Tesla. Yeah, and he's selling now. Yeah, for other reasons. All right. So next up, Manas wrote, Elon is now getting after Binance and its CEO. I don't know why, but it's weird. Yeah, it's an exchange, but I'm not sure why. I haven't seen that. Yeah. Now, when he's gone after Bitcoin in the past, it's been because it's bad for the environment. That's what he said. Because when you mine cryptocurrencies, if you mine in China, for example, where 81% of all Bitcoin pool mining is still occurring now, even though it's outlawed, they use VPNs. But when you're mining cryptocurrencies, you use a lot of energy. And in China, a massive source of energy is coal, which burps filth into the sky. And 1/3 or close to 1/3 of all pollution above the great state of California here on the left coast is from mainland China. Yeah. So maybe it has to do with something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah. And Elon, obviously, he has to be an environmentalist because he's very long-term focused. He wants this planet to be around, and his product is kind of it is a clean tech company. Tesla, that is. Yeah. We ordered our first one. They told us it would arrive this December. I told Christine, my wife, I said, there ain't no way it's going to arrive because of supply chain issues. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, thank you for everything, my mentor. God bless you and your family forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you way more, brother. Yeah. And I'd like to ask you all to please keep one of my students, Kevin, in your prayers. Thank you. If you can do that. Thank you. Okay. And praying works. It works. And I watch Curb Your... My favorite show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. and Larry David. So he was one of the co-writers of Seinfeld, and basically Curb Your Enthusiasm is all the Seinfelds that weren't allowed to go on the air because it would be rated R. But Larry David, who's hilarious, right? He's bald, and in the latest episode, one of his friends on the show said, "Hey, my father's in the hospital. Can you pray for my father?" And Larry David said, "I don't really think it's going to help." And so his friend goes, "Well, why do you think praying won't help?" And he said, "Because I'm bald." Yeah, it's kind of funny. But please pray everyone for Kevin. Thank you. Okay. All right. Alex wrote, hold on a second. Okay. Manas wrote, your crypto course is awesome. I'm on the 7th day of vlogging and loving. Attaboy. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And when you vlog, YouTube is the only search engine, or pardon me, YouTube is the only gold rush in history where it costs you nothing to make the product. And YouTube is also the only gold rush in history where you can get access to billions of potential customers for free. And so I told myself years ago I'd vlog every day. I think I'm on day 1300 or something now. I committed to it. I committed to vlogging every day for 10 years. And I'm going to do it much longer in 10 years. And when you commit to something like that, I promise you it's going to feel lonely. You're going to feel like you're screaming into the wind initially. But I want you just to keep up at it and just don't worry. And just be yourself. You got a great personality. You're a smart guy. I've got your book here called Bonds Before Business, which is awesome. Just never give up, ever. Yeah. And in general, when you embark upon it, I'll make this a generic answer, but when you embark upon a journey, right, like to vlog every day or whatever it is, or to start a company that's going to put your dent in the universe, when you embark upon a journey, it's your goal. You can see your goal. It's the top of the mountain. There it is, man. I see it. And you're excited to start with this goal. And you start walking. And as Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You start walking and getting closer to your goal, which is the top of the mountain. And the mountain's peak is getting bigger because you're getting closer. And then what's going to happen one day is you're going to kind of be lost. And you're like, and you're meandering this way and this way. And you're like, I can't see the top of the mountain anymore. What happened to my dreams? The reason you can't see the top of the mountain is because you're freaking halfway up the mountain and you just can't see it. But keep in mind, you are getting closer. And you got to tell yourself, I don't give a damn what other people think of me. I'm committed to this vlogging thing, and I'm going to do it every day forever. Because I think what's going to happen, Manas, is a lot of people are going to look back 10 years from now. They're going to look back and say, damn it, I wish I created more vlogs. Because each vlog you create, it can generate revenue. I do it to help people as well. It's fun. You got to do it because you're passionate about it. But each vlog I create is like a little coffee franchise. Right? I've got a couple thousand videos up now, whatever. I have other non-vlog videos. And each one generates revenue. And so 10 years from now, people are going to look back and say, damn it, it was right in front of me. And it was free because I have an iPhone. I can vlog or an Android handset. And just keep at it. Yeah. All right. Alex wrote, happy Thanksgiving, Chris. Same to you. Thank you. Next up, PNG wrote, happy Thanksgiving, Chris. Thank you. Did you sell an advanced Excel course for beginners? I don't see any in my MBA program. If not, do you recommend any? Yeah. So I just created actually. It's part of the my complete options course. Yeah. So let me show you the options course. Yeah. So I teach you Excel from scratch in it as well, but I don't teach you coding in Excel or macros because that leads to vulnerabilities. All right. So I was just actually going through. Let's see here. I was going to send out, thank you, Robert. I'll be with you soon, man. I'm going to finish all the questions first, and then I'll come and join you. All right, hold on one second. Let me check them. Okay, sorry. Don't mean to make you guys dizzy. So here it is here, okay? It's the complete options course. It's also on my website, of course. Yeah. So I'm just creating a coupon to send out right now to my 1.1 million or so Udemy customers. So I created the coupon there. And then what you do is I'm going to send it out today. And it looks like this. Okay, so it's going to go out at some point today. My first course in a while. It's over 29 hours long. I'm very proud of it. The reason I haven't sent it out yet is I updated I just updated the trailer. And it's not reflecting the new trailer yet. So when I click this here, yeah, that's the old trailer. Yeah. But it's a great course. I think you guys will enjoy it. You can also go to my website to get it if you want to. Yeah. All right. But I do teach a lot about Excel in that program as well. It's the last section. There's several hundred lectures and videos and quizzes and tons of Excel documents as well. I've never worked that hard on a course. Look at how much I've aged. Yeah. So, but I hope you enjoy it. All right. Next up, Umar wrote, "Hey Chris, love from Pakistan. How are you? Good to see you. My best friend growing up, his name was Sohail, and I used to go to his house every Friday night and have dinner with his family. And I remember every Friday after I leave their house for dinner, it's wonderful. They would always say Hot Office, and I thought his dad was saying I'm going to the office. I thought because he worked hard and stuff." But of course, that's a wonderful word for, I think, goodbye or greetings. And yeah, but great to see you. I have a lot of students from Lahore as well as Karachi in my MBA program. Yeah. All right. And your question is, I made a journal, and here is no trend of journaling. How can I sell my product? Please answer. Yeah. So you have to give me more details, please. But what I would say in general is whenever you create a book or any sort of product you want to sell, the hardest thing is your go-to-market strategy and how to reach customers. It's hard, man. Like Toyota advertises 20 commercials, like you see 20 commercials for a certain car before you pull the trigger and you buy it. It's expensive. But you can do that using YouTube. And so what I did with my first book, which is 101 Crucial Lessons they don't teach you in business school. What I actually did was, and everybody can do this as well, and I can give you all my book template if you want. But for this book, what I did was I wrote one article a week for about 2 years on LinkedIn. And then what I did was I copied all those articles and just threw it in this book and released it. And then I did a bunch of vlogs about all the individual lessons. And then I did a bunch of courses on the individual lessons, right? And that kind of, grew my platform. And platforms are always the best investments because you want to own the road, so to speak. But what I would do is I'd start making vlogs on certain chapters or give excerpts as well of this. Because you can't just put something on Amazon or anywhere and expect it to sell unless you market the heck out of it. You can do so using vlogs and just copy and paste certain chapters on LinkedIn, etc. Yeah. And if you want to download my book template, if anybody does, and Manas used this book template of mine to write his amazing books. But what you do is you go to my website, okay? And here you go, /write-book. Okay, that's all one word. And if you can use Microsoft Word and a browser, you can write a book, and it's free to do. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like here. So there's, and I'm not asking for your email or anything, it's free to download this. I tell you on one page how to publish on Amazon Print, Amazon Digital, Kindle, of course, and ACX, which is Audible, and how to get a cover for your book and how to copyright and all that stuff. And so all you have to do is you just fill in this template in Word, and you right-click on this table of contents and repaginate. That's a real word. And then submit it. Anybody can do it. So go to harounventures.com/writebook. That's all lowercase. Yeah. And you got to ask yourself too. You got to say, well, should I really write a book? I mean, Chris, that's a lot of work. Well, if you go to a job interview or meeting with a customer and you give them your book, they're going to be impressed. Who does that? And you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want this job, or how badly do you want this customer? But make sure to repurpose all the contents as well with your book, which is what I do on YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Yeah, write once, read many. Yeah. And it's similar to what Nintendo's been doing for decades with their older Mario titles, right? Mario in the 8-bit, 16-bit, and 64 version. They re-released on the Wii, the Wii U, and the Switch as well. Repurpose the same content. Yeah. All right. Next up, Alex wrote, Chris, have you had a broken relationship with friends and relatives, but realized later it is so valuable that you wanted to repair it? Any thoughts on how to do it? I'm thinking of writing a warm email. Yeah, and I did that recently as well to a friend of mine. Yeah, that I work with. Yeah, yeah. If it's a personal thing, like outside of business, because you never want to put that stuff in an email at work. People use it against you, and they will. But yeah, you can just admit your faults. You're like, listen, I'm very sorry for what I did. Just don't write anything incriminating. Yeah, just be careful. It sucks for me to say that, but quite often, what can get you into trouble is when you're friends with people in business, whatever it is, and you let your guard down, and then that relationship sours for whatever reason. It's usually because of money. And then they use something against you. I've seen it happen. But I've always been paranoid with email. Always. Because someone can use it against you always. Just be careful. Be a little bit vague. If it's somebody at business, if it's someone personal, you can be a little bit more forthcoming. Yeah. 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 All right. All right. So next up, Anurag wrote, "Hey, Chris, great to see you. How does a day in the life of Chris Haroun look like?" Yeah. So, yeah, thank you. So for me, I multitask. So I get up, 7, 8, whatever it is. I always get 8 hours. Last night I got a little bit less. And then what I do is I come here into my studio, and I take 20,000 steps while I work. Okay, and I've got the cheapest treadmill on the market. But what I do is I walk all day long, and I get 20,000 steps in on average, and I've done that for a couple of years in my office. So 20,000 steps. Watch this, Alexa. What's 20,000 times 365 times 2?
20,000 times 365 times 2 is 14.6 million.
That many steps, yeah. So I've got the cheapest treadmill you can get. And I you guys don't see it because I don't do it when I'm on the air with you guys, but I walk all day long, okay? All day long. And the most it goes is 3.7 miles per hour, right? And I need to get some WD-40 to get rid of the squeakiness, but I do it, and I've got a desk I pull up like this as well, so I can type, right? And I've got a brand new 80-inch desk that it goes up and out, just arrived. My current one is broken. But this product here I got at Amazon, I recommend it. There's no affiliate program for me, obviously. It's called Stand Steady, and it comes assembled, this thing. And it's actually really well built as well. And that way it keeps my posture good as well. You can't see it, but I've got, maybe you can't. I'm wearing this back brace as well to fix my posture. It's getting better. It's a $15 product on Amazon. So I'm all about continuous improvement always. And so during the day, I don't work. I have a passion. I love it. I love it. The problem is I don't know how to stop, but that's okay because I love it. Yeah. And in terms of my time, I spend time with my kids, my 3 boys, and Christine, and that's it. Yeah. I don't really go out to play golf with friends and stuff. I'm committed to doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm happy. I'm in a good place in my life. And I use a lot of biohacking secrets and stuff I developed over the years just to make sure I'm productive. But I think that if you exercise while you're working, if you can do it in a studio at home or at work, whatever, if you have an office, I think you can accomplish a hell of a lot more. And it's kind of like, remember when you were younger and you were studying for a test and you got up early to study and you're like, oh my God, that 1 hour in the morning of studying is the equivalent of like 10 hours at night. I'm fresh. That's how I feel all day long. Not because I'm doing what I'm passionate about, but because I'm exercising. And so it's kind of a biohack I've developed over the years, a part of my methodology. And so if you treat this right, this works much gooder. And you release endorphins. And I feel like I just woke up all day long in terms of being able to absorb stuff like a sponge. So that's kind of a day in the life. I've got a pretty good gym in the garage. My kids exercise a lot. I haven't as much recently because my back's kind of messed up, but I'll be okay. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Mondays and Tuesdays, it's all about my MBA students. So I teach classes every Monday and Tuesday in 2 different time zones. And if you want, you can join. I'd love to have you guys join for next year's class that starts on January 10th. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. And at night, I spend time with the kids, of course. I'll Dylan is getting to the point where he doesn't want me to read him a book anymore at night. It's breaking my heart. He's getting older. But yeah, hang out with my boys, my older boys. We play Madden or MLB The Show together. Yeah. I just put up a badass basketball hoop we play as well. And yeah, it's all about Christine and the kids. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And I do one-on-ones with students as well, confidential one-on-ones for my platinum students every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Yeah, yeah. And if you want, you can sign up for my program now. And as part of early access, this is the last time it's going to be on sale. Just go to this website here. If you sign up for the gold program, you get 3 one-on-ones with me as well. And if you sign up for the platinum program, usually it's 9 one-on-ones, but I actually bumped it up to 12. And you get it along with this $500 off coupon. Again, it expires on the 29th. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next up, Anurag wrote, how do you balance work, health, and relationships in your life? Any strategies you'd like to share? Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of balancing health and work, I mentioned I exercise all day long here. I've got this badass elliptical trainer in the garage and a big TV and all that stuff, whatever. I make it fun. You know, and whenever it feels like work for me, what I'll do is I'll turn on some classical music in the background or a soundtrack from a great movie that inspires me, like Interstellar. If there's anybody from Germany here today, thank you for Hans Zimmer. He's my favorite artist now. He's great. Yeah, but I make it fun for me. Yeah, you set the soundtrack to your own life. Yeah. In terms of relationships, so I'm at the point now where I have great friends, but it's hard to make friends when you get older, just because your focus is the kids. I have a lot of great friends here in the Bay Area, and I met them because our kids are friends. Yeah, like Marjana and Cameron, our best friends, are Scott, and Naomi, etc. Yeah, through our kids. Yeah, but it's harder. Like when I meet somebody now, at this point in my life, and you learn how to judge people character-wise. If I meet somebody, and there's a tiny, tiny chance I think, I don't know if I can be friends with this person forever, I don't waste my time. I know it sounds weird to say, but the way I look at it is every second I spend with them is a second I don't spend with them. Yeah. A little out there, I know. All right. And then my wife and I, we do date nights as well. Yeah. But it's tough because my marriage is great, but I have a lot of friends whose kids are now going off to college. And it's hard because when they got married, they loved each other. And then for 20 years, whatever, they focused on the kids and the kids leave. And then they look at each other and they think, oh my gosh, you're not the same person I married before. So it's, I have a lot of friends going through that right now. Thank goodness I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I love Christine so much. She's great. Yeah. We got married in 2000. Yeah. Okay. In a place called Etobicoke, right by Toronto. All right, next up, Demian. Hey, Demian, how are you? Thanks so much for being part of the Platinum program as well. Demian upgraded from Silver to Platinum. He's from Mexico, but he lives now in Barcelona. I have a lot of students in Barcelona too. And so Demian said, happy Thanksgiving Day to everyone. Always learning from your lessons. Best wishes to you and your family. A big hug, brother. Thanks. Right back at you. And thanks for sending me the Excel file as well. I will take a look. I promise you. Yeah. Thank you. Love you, man. Okay. Next up, I've got Simon or Solomon. And if I mispronounce anyone's name, please let me know. It says Slman. Solomon. Okay, so Solomon is saying, can I have a Platinum MBA course for free, please? Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah. All right. But I appreciate that you asked. Yeah. All right, next up, Anurag wrote, hey, Chris, there seems to be a frenzy in the Indian startup ecosystem. Many startups are making debuts in the Indian stock market by raising IPOs. How does someone value these companies before investing? That's a great question. So the way it works, and I've worked on a lot of deals in the past, is investment bankers will value a company using 3 different methodologies. And then they'll give it to the sales people on the trading floor to sell the product. Okay? So the investment bankers create the product. And they work with a team that stands on a Chinese wall. It's a compliance thing. that helps to articulate how to value the company and sell it to the salespeople on the trading floor so they can sell to mutual funds and hedge funds. And in terms of the valuation methodologies, it depends on the industry, but usually there are 2 or 3 different valuation metrics, 3 usually. One is price to earnings, the other one is price to revenue, and the third one is quite often DCF, which I'm not a big fan of. And so what you do is you get a target price from 3 different valuation methodologies. And then the target price that you advertise or tell investors about is a blended average of all 3 target prices. And the reason you take an average of all 3 is because you want to minimize the margin of error, because one of these 3 is going to be way, way off. Right? But the more data points you have and average them together, the less likely you're going to be extremely off when it comes to valuing a company. And it's all based in the sector too. So you have to look at what other similar companies are trading at on those valuation multiples, especially PE and price to revenue. You also have to look at the growth rate of the company, as well as understand how it grows organically. And so usually there's 1 or 2 drivers that makes a stock go up in any sector. So in the restaurant industry, it's called same-store sales. And so people will value companies based on how fast a company, a restaurant grows each franchise, each year. Okay, it's organic growth. So for example, McDonald's, ticker CMD, or MCD, sorry. McDonald's, for years, they were growing. And then the law of large numbers hit them, and they weren't growing anymore. And investors were like, come on, man, grow, or I'm going to sell a stock. And so what they did was they actually, in order to increase same-store sales, they started offering coffee, which is a high profit margin product, obviously. And then investors loved it. And then a year or 2 later, growth slowed again. And so investors were like, dude, how are you going to grow each store year over year, same-store sales? And so they thought, well, why don't we put kiosks in a lot of our stores, which they've done in Europe, so that can actually get more people to buy stuff and they could hire fewer people. And that helped. And then after a while, they stopped growing. And so they started allowing you to get breakfast all day long, which is dope. Would somebody get this kid a Happy Meal? Remember that? What movie is that from? Yeah. And then they also started opening up after midnight for the people that, I'm not going to go there. I don't do that. I don't think it should be legal. Unless it's medicinal. Okay. All right. But I provide you with a ton of tools, frameworks, or arrows in your quiver in my MBA program to help you value any company. Lots of financial modeling tools as well. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Gamer for Fun wrote, in India, they banned many cryptocurrencies. They just left the big ones or famous ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum. So what do you think I should invest in now? Yeah. So I never tell my students what to invest in. Rather than giving you a fish, I teach you how to fish, so to speak. And so in my MBA program, I provide you with a lot of different templates, tools, etc., so you can make the best investment decisions longer term. Always do your own research. Always, always, always. Never rely on anybody else. Yeah. And the worst thing you can do is see an interview on television with a CEO of a company and then buy the stock. Because they're great salespeople. You got to do your own research first. Yeah. And again, in my MBA program, you can check out this link here. I teach you all this stuff as well. Yeah. All right. But I do believe that that most cryptocurrencies are scams. I do. I love certain cryptos. There's 4 I own. I've owned them for many years and I'll never sell, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Ripple and Litecoin. But most of them are a scam. And when I started doing research on cryptos years ago, 2013, I got my first board seat on a crypto company when I worked in venture capital. I invested in a lot of private companies. I met with Fred Ursum. He was in my office at an event once. He was the founder of Coinbase and did a ton of work. I was excited about cryptos in general. And then it became a bubble. Like there was so much crap out there. It's human nature though. People chase money. It is what it is. It happened with Internet Bubble 1.0 in the late 90s. There's a lot of crappy companies went public. And so I think most cryptocurrencies are a scam and not great investments. But there's a handful that are amazing. And I provide you with all the tools to form your own opinions on which ones to buy. All right. And then Swakshan wrote, is this a power of a god? I'm not sure you're referring to, but God bless you, brother. Yeah. All right. Next up, Sadiq wrote, and give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. All right. Next up, Sadiq. Hey, Sadiq, how are you, man? I think you were on my Zoom yesterday, right? It was a pleasure meeting you from India. Yeah. And it was 4:30 in the morning, I think, when you're on the call. Thank you. So Sadiq wrote here, hey, Chris, I hope you're doing well. Likewise. It was wonderful interacting with you yesterday. Really appreciate your time. I appreciate your time more so. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to having you in the program as well. And if anybody wants to join Zoom, I'll open up Zoom in a second. You can go to, just go to the same web address below, but instead of MBA now, put the word in Zoom at the end. Okay, all lowercase. Yeah, ZOOM. Yeah. All right, cool. And I've got Robert waiting to come in. So Robert, I'll come and get you in a second. But if anybody else wants to join, this is your time as always. And then Sadiq wrote, do you have any independent course for building brand on social media for those who can't afford your MBA program? Yeah, I've got a course called the Complete YouTube course. I also have a free course called How to Vlog. Yeah, and you can find those online. Yeah. All right. And hey, Raf, how are you, man? So Raf's in my MBA degree program right now. Great guy. He currently lives in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State in the United States. Great guy. I hope you're excited about the options as well. The options stuff I'm adding to the curriculum. Yeah. So Raf wrote, hey, Chris, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving. I'm always great. I hope you're doing well as well. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Is your turkey already in the oven? Yeah. No, it's not. And then you wrote Dogecoin to the moon. And that's the way that Raf ends all of his messages to me. And that's how I know it's him. I love you, brother. Good to see you. Myron, how are you? Myron is one of my amazing platinum students in my MBA program as well. She's great. She's from Kenya originally. She lives in the United Kingdom, and she started a couple of great companies as well. Yeah. So Myron wrote, at Chris, hope you and yours are doing well. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I'm grateful for your work you're doing, and also for our amazing MBA family. Thank you. Our amazing I love our students so much. They're great. We got a great class this year. Yeah. Last year was good too. But I can't believe we're doing our third year, man, starting January 10th. And usually I start the program for the past 2 years in December, but we're starting in January this time because I want to connect with my family and stuff. Yeah, I've got the most patient wife in the world. Yeah, cool. And MBA stands for Married But Available, okay? Don't kid yourself. It has nothing to do with business. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Awful dad humor, sorry. Okay, and Hisham, how are you? Hisham was one of my students during the evenings. I used to teach at one of the universities, was San Francisco State University. Great guy. He worked with me for a while as well. And then he went to go work at Amazon. He's got a badass job there. And he spent some time, a couple months over in Pakistan. Now he's back in the Bay Area. Great to see you, man. So Hisham wrote, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Chris. Grateful to have you as a mentor and friend. Likewise, man. Likewise. Thank you. And I remember you well, man. You used to sit front row on the right. In the Daly City campus, I think. Yeah. All right, Rafi wrote a slider pitch question. Okay. All right. Give me a second here, guys. Sorry. So Raf and I have this thing that whenever he uses my awful hair, I look like that guy from The Sopranos. So I've got a thing with Rafi whenever he asks a question. And he mentions baseball, I have to carry this. It's just what I do. And this is a baseball bat from Andre Dawson, who is MVP for the Chicago Cubs in 1987. I got it signed. My mom gave this to me as a Christmas present when I was a kid back in the 80s, this broken bat, and then I brought it to my office at work when I worked at Pequot, big hedge fund here. And my boss, Carson Levitt, who's my mentor, I worked for him at Citadel and Pequot, two great places. He was at dinner here in 2007 when the All-Star game was here. And he called me at home. And my wife said, Chris, your boss, Carson Levitt's on the phone. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I was like, hi Carson, everything okay? He said, Chris, you're not going to believe this. Andre Dawson is at the same restaurant as me. Do you want me to go to your office, which was One Market Plaza in San Francisco, the bottom of Market Street? Do you want me to go to your office and get your baseball bat and get him to sign it? And so he did. It was pretty cool. I had a great boss. He's probably my favorite boss ever. Yeah. So anyway, here we go. Curveball question. How is theta calculated in options? You don't have to answer today. It can wait on Monday. Yeah. Yeah. So theta means time decay, right? And it's hard for me to explain it because it's a very, very big and long formula. Yeah. But I'll show you the formula right now. So let me show you here. It's really, really complicated and long. It's not a simple thing. But hold on one second. So I'm going to go over here, and I will go to option, course videos, finals. I'll open this one here. Yeah. All right. So there's something called Greek formulas when you look at options. And they're called Greeks because they're Greek letters, and the Greeks invented math. And so theta is one of the 5 Greek letters. One of them is actually technically not a Greek letter, which is vega, right, which measures volatility. So I'm going to go down here to pricing options, okay? And what I'll do is let me actually get that thing off the screen here so I can show you everything here. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me go down to, and this is one of the mini files in the program or the course, okay? Let me go down to, give me a second, Greek variables, Greek formulas. All right, statistics. And then I've got theta down here. Okay, cool. All right. And in this program, actually, in these spreadsheets, you can click on any bricks you want, and it'll open up, boom, a YouTube window to explain what theta is. And I created a...
Theta is one of the Greek variables, okay?
Yeah, but I'll explain it to you here. But this is the most comprehensive spreadsheet I've ever made, man. Yeah. So it's a long and complicated formula that looks like this, okay? And yeah, there's a lot to it. Let me get a little bit more real estate here. Hold on a second. Yeah, and there's, so on this tab alone, there's 10,302 calculations to calculate the value of the option using something called the binomial pricing theory, okay? And so the way to calculate options, and let me actually show you here. So I'm going to go over here to the option calculation because it's more complex than just explain it. So right here, I've got 10,302 cells to calculate the option price, which is here, okay? And so there's 10,302 in this matrix here, okay? And so if I were to zoom out, let me go here to 30%. So what I do is I created 100 steps, and each one of these cells, 10,302 of them, has very complicated calculations, okay? And if we zoom in, each one of these calculations uses a ton of those yellow inputs you see on the left there, okay? And don't let that intimidate you because I break this down from scratch in the course, right? So let me get a little bit closer here and I'll show you one of these formulas. And all this stuff is used to calculate the price of an option, right? You go through different iterations. You know, is it a put or a call, European or American style, strike prices, etc. Okay? So that's one of the inputs that goes into creating the option price. Now, the output is the price of the option, okay, and the Greek formulas as well. A lot of people think the Greek formulas are inputs. They're not. Here are the inputs here to price an option. And I go through this in a lot more detail in the course, of course. And here are the outputs, the price, and then you've got all the Greeks. So in terms of theta, I'll show you the calculation here. And don't get intimidated because we're going to go through this in a lot of detail in class, okay? And what I'm going to do is for gold and platinum students, I'm going to be doing a 2-day seminar for free, of course, because this is an elective. And I'm going to teach you all this stuff in 2 12-hour sessions. We'll do those 2 sessions in early December, and I'll send you a message about it soon. Yeah, everyone in the gold and platinum program, even those that graduated last year and start next year. All right, so basically here are the inputs, okay? So there's a lot to it. Anytime you see EXP, it has to do with continuous discounting. And so for those of you that are math geeks like me, EXP is basically a very powerful number. So EXP1, it's 2.718, and it deals with continuous compounding interest because time is a big factor with options. And so E, or EXP, is part of it. It's just fun to talk about, is 2.718, right? And it's one of the most important calculations you'll ever see in all finance. It's so important that when Larry and Sergey took Google public in 2004, I remember well participating in an IPO, Larry and Sergey on the roadshow, they raised $2.718 billion because of this. And E is a big part of it, right? But anyway, here are all the inputs. We're going to go through it in a heck of a lot of detail together, brother. There's normal distribution involved and a lot of stuff. Yeah. So it's hard for me to kind of explain it. Yeah. But it means the second you get closer, theta means every day you get closer to options expiration, then you can expect the option to go down a certain amount. Okay, and it's always negative. because when you start getting closer to the expiration date with options, the decrease in price of the option, regardless if it's a call or a put, accelerates. And that's called theta decay or time decay. Yeah. And so theta is always negative. Yeah. We'll go through this in class in a lot of detail together, buddy. Yeah. All right. That was fun. All right. Let me go back over here. All right. Cool. Okay. Raf wrote, if time comes when your MBA course becomes accredited, I beg you, sorry, to please include us first batch of graduates to be official too. Thank you. It'll never be accredited. Yeah. I'm not a degree mill. I'll never do it because the second you go after accreditation, you have a standards body that sits on your board and tells you what you can and can't teach. And then all of a sudden you're teaching theoretical crap that doesn't help anybody. Yeah. I'd be doing a disservice to my students. Yeah. All right. Next up, Pearl wrote, hi, Chris. Glad to have made it to this call as always. Pearl, great to see you. Pearl's also one of my MBA students. Does taking the skills quiz in LinkedIn also help as part of getting recommendations? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the skills quiz, but what you can do is you can add a bunch of skills to your profile, and you can have all of your friends that you worked with click on certain skills until you max out at 99 that shows up on your profile. Yeah, and I'll show you what I did years ago. I'm not job hunting, but I'll show you here. So if we go here to LinkedIn. I'll go to my profile here. Yeah. All right. So here, and I'll scroll down. It's coming. Here we go. Here. Yeah. Oh, skill quiz here. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But I have a lot of friends of mine that I went to school with, Marilia at Columbia years ago, and she's a big deal now actually in Brazil. Okay, she's on tons of boards. She's on the board of Banco Santander and stuff. She's great. Sorry, a little walk down memory lane. Dylan was my buddy in school as well. One of my mentors here. Yeah. But what I recommend doing is I recommend getting a lot of people to write skills for you, or to click on these skills here. And I used to have hedge fund there as well. I had a couple hundred pluses. I took it out because I don't want people to think he was a hedge fund guy. But anyway, you can do it here. But let me go through the skill quiz here. All right. Yeah, if you're just getting started, you can add these things if you want to. But yeah, I've never seen this before. But I think what's more important than these little skills you add is the recommendations you get from people that write your recommendations. Yeah. All right. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Arjun just wrote Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. What are your thoughts on becoming an airline pilot? Yeah. So, and I have a couple students on this weekly that are airline pilots. One in particular from Sweden, Stockholm. So, if you love it, do it. And usually, a lot of airline pilots they came out of the Air Force. So they work in government Air Force, and then basically they make a couple $100,000 as a pilot, right? Which is a great gig. It's a great gig. Yeah. It obviously there's a hell of a lot of travel, which is the dumbest thing I've probably ever said. But there's more dumb things to come, I promise you. And if you don't want to be away from your family, it's probably not a good profession. Just like consulting. Don't become a consultant at a firm like McKinsey or Accenture if you have kids. Because what happens is consulting is it's like the army. You know, they send you to fight battles out of town or whatever it is with an army of consultants, meaning where the clients are. And McKinsey is actually getting better at it because what they do is regardless of where your client is, they fly you back to the office every Friday so you can hang out with people on Friday in the office. Yeah. So make sure that I wouldn't do if you have kids. Yeah. And only do if you're passionate. Like if in your spare time, all you do is you play Flight Simulator. That's your passion, then you should probably do it. Yeah. All right. Next up, Sadiq wrote, Kuda Hafiz means may God protect you. Muslims always have unique ways of greeting. Oh, I love it. I'm going to remember that one. Kuda Hafiz. Very cool, man. I love it. It sounds like a Kuna Matata. Yeah. Don't worry. Life's going to work out. Yeah. And my dad always sends me a message every, he's Coptic, but every January or every year he reminds me that, hey, Chris, Ramadan starts today. Make sure to say happy Ramadan to all your Muslim students. Yeah. All right. And Cyrus, hey, Cyrus, how are you? Nice to see you as well. Does our MBA include your new options class? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And I teach it in a hell of a lot more detail. So again, this early December, what I'm doing for everybody that's in gold and platinum that's bought over the years or for next year is I'm holding a 2-day session to teach all this stuff over 12 hours each day. It's optional because it's an elective. Yeah. Okay. And then Harsh wrote, hey Harsh, how are you? And Harsh, I think it was you that recommended, you along with Kevin, one of my favorite students ever that we have to pray for, that recommended we watch the movie 3 Idiots. If anybody in this call hasn't seen the movie 3 Idiots, you have to watch it. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I laughed and I cried. It was so good. You have to watch it, yeah. And so Harsh wrote, how can I get clients for my email marketing agency? Yeah, yeah. So at the beginning of today's video, and if you didn't watch it live, please just rewind. I gave you 9 tips on how to network, get a job, etc. And in one of the tips, I talked about bringing something to meetings to help people with their careers. You got to be additive to their careers and understand that people are motivated by 3 things in business. They want to make more money, they want to get promoted, and they want to enjoy what they do. So focus on one of those 3 areas with your informational meetings with potential customers. Again, rewind to the beginning of today's lecture. I started today's class. I started today with a 15-minute video that I just clicked play on, and then I'm doing the live Q&A now, kind of like the way I teach. Yeah. Okay, and then Sadiq wrote here, how does valuation work for companies like Zomato, which is just like DoorDash? Zomato is at a loss since they incorporate, however, people's expectations suggest otherwise. That's a great question, yeah. So what you have to do is when companies go public and they're not profitable, the investment analysts, what they'll do is they'll create a financial model, and I give you all the tools. I teach you stuff from scratch in my MBA program. And you'll calculate what earnings will be in many years, 5 or 10 years, whatever. And so the best investments I've ever made are ones where people thought the stocks were expensive, but I thought they were cheap based on my earnings estimate in 5 or 10 years. So I don't look at price to earnings ratios for this year or next year. I look at price to earnings ratios for my earnings estimate in 5 or 10 years. And years ago, I invested in LinkedIn. Ticker was LNKD before Microsoft bought it and did nothing with it. But I love that company so much. And people told me I was crazy owning LinkedIn because it was 100 times earnings. I'm like, dude, it's not. It's 3 times my earnings estimate in like 5 or 10 years. Same thing with Amazon, same thing with Tesla, which I still own, etc. Yeah. So you got to look at longer term. And if you have to value something on a 1-year basis that's not profitable, obviously you can't use PE. You use price to revenue. Yeah. Which is like PE, except the denominator is not E, it's revenue. And it's all relative to what sector it's in. So for example, back in the summer of 2012, I invested in 3 IPOs. And I met with the management team and all that stuff. It was great. And those 3 IPOs were Splunk, ticker SPLK, ServiceNow, ticker NOW, as well as Workday, ticker WDAY. And basically those companies weren't really profitable. And so the way I valued them back then was I looked at similar companies and I looked at the revenue multiple. And the revenue multiple at that point for high growth internet or software companies or cloud-based companies was about 15 to 20 times revenue. So you have to look at similar companies in the industry. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up is Dustin. Hey, Dustin, I went to school with a guy named Dustin Ide years ago. Yeah. Great guy. So Dustin wrote, I purchased one of your other courses. It's been amazing and very educational. You do a great job. Thank you. It's music to my ears. Thank you. I'm here to serve you, my customers. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Sadiq wrote, yes, Chris, I'd really love to be part of your MBA program. It's just a matter of time. I probably enroll by the end of 2022. Yeah, there's no rush. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do this every single year. Yeah. And then you wrote, I'll probably enroll by the end of 2022. Money is the only barrier right now, but I'm definitely enrolling probably by the end of next year. I'm sure I'll gain a lot from you. Thank you. I'd love to be able to work with you. And even if you don't, I'd love to add value humbly to you on this weekly call if I can. Yeah, thank you. Next up, Ryan wrote, good morning, Chris. 2 questions. Good morning. Do you get to celebrate Thanksgiving twice? So no, I mean, we usually don't. I mean, if we celebrate Thanksgiving here in the States, it's usually we go to a buddy's house, like Dylan Stieg, who always has us over his house. He's great. But we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, which is on a Monday. Yeah. But Americans do it better, I gotta say, right? Because in the United States, Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, which is a holiday. And because it's on a Thursday, nobody works on Friday, right? And technically it's a work day, but nobody works. It's smart, yeah. So, but in Canada, it's on a Monday. Yeah, we're more conservative, eh? And then you wrote here, for a company profile as the next step in pursuing a corporate sponsorship. How long is too long, and what should be the key points? Yeah. Give me a little bit more specifics on that, please, because I want to answer your question the proper way. But in general, when you're trying to get sponsorship from a company or anybody in business, relationships are more important than product knowledge. You have to bond before business, and you have to help them with their careers somehow, right? Give and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. And if you have that mentality of helping people that you want as customers, I promise you'll run circles around the competition. Yeah. It's a different way to think. Yeah. And there's this great book, I think it was a Harvard Business School book years ago called Give and Take. And in the book, the author analyzes, really successful people. And basically, the author found that the middle 98% of people in business, they're takers, right? They just take. They don't help anyone. And the bottom 1% of people are people with beautiful souls, like Mother Teresa, that give. Why? Somebody's got to make a movie about Mother Teresa. And the top 1% of people by net worth in the world are givers. They want to help people, right? They follow their hearts. And a lot of wealthy people are not good people, but a lot are. And they just like helping people. So give and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Yeah. Okay. Harsh wrote, I'm in the silver program. Will I get the option classes also? Yes. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding it. I'm going to be flipping the switch probably next 2 days or so. I'll be adding it to FA44. That's Finance and Accounting Semester 4, class number 4. Yeah. So you'll notice there's 3 classes for finance in the last semester, the 4th semester. The 4th one will be the options. Yeah. So of course don't buy it. Yeah. Thanks. All right. Mohammed Sohail. Hey, Mohammed. How are you, man? I'm smiling because my best friend growing up, Sohail Bajwa. In Canada. God, he was funny, man. He made me laugh so hard. Yeah. But you wrote Happy Thanksgiving. Likewise, brother. And then you wrote, I'd like to understand the differences between your Udemy course as an entire MBA and the new MBA program. That's a great question. I get that all the time, Mohammed. Yeah. So an entire MBA in one course is 7.5 hours. But my MBA degree program it's 500 hours. It's 300 hours of the lectures, kind of like I played today. And then over 200 hours of live Q&A, right? And so you can see here the gold program and the platinum program. And they're on sale for $500 off today. And this is the last time we're putting it on sale. It expires November 29th. But platinum is just like gold, except you get 3 hours of one-on-ones. Yeah. And what I'm doing for this special promotion here is I've actually got 3. If you look right below the yellow line there, under gold, live gold, you get 3 one-on-ones. First time I've ever done it for gold. Because I like to get to know my students. 20-minute sessions. And then with platinum, if you look below the yellow line, you get 3 additional Zoom calls and 9 as well. So 12 in total for platinum. And we spread out these Zoom calls on over Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at a time works for you throughout the entire year in 20-minute increments. Yeah. So, And I'm confident. I'm a humble guy. But nobody is better at helping you get the job of your dreams or helping you how to interview, present, and all that great stuff. Yeah. I really do walk through walls for my students. Yeah. And if you sign up for my MBA program, if you're in gold and platinum, you can join every class in the future forever for free. Not the one-on-ones, though, because I just don't have enough time. Because I always have to serve new students. And there's office hours for MBA gold and platinum students, too, and a lot of other perks. Yeah, it's fun. And you'll never pay a penny for anything else I ever publish. You get everything for free. Yeah. All right. Next, hey, Ali, how are you? Ali, I think, is one of my MBA students. Ali wrote, hi, Chris, any comments on impact investing? Yeah. If you mean socially responsible investing, I'm a big fan. I mean, you can find mutual funds that focus in this area. They won't buy any stocks that companies that make tobacco, for example. If that's who you're referring to, I'm a big fan. I haven't ever bought mutual funds based on that. I've just done my own investing. Yeah. But I won't invest in a company if the management team is very unethical. Yeah. Like if CEO is caught cheating on their wife and whatnot, you just can't trust them in business, Yeah. All right. But again, MBA stands for married but available. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't. My dad, humor is awful. All right, next up I got Steve. And I will open up Zoom in a second once I'm done these questions. If you want to join Zoom, go to harounventures.com/Zoom, meaning this same web address there, but replace MBA now with the word Zoom, all lowercase. And I'll take your questions as long as you want me to. Yeah. Okay. All right, next question is from Steve. Hey, Steve. Steve wrote, hi, Chris. In the Platinum program, is that a 1 hour one-on-one every week or one time? Or what kind of schedule? Yeah, it's a great question. So the way it works is I do one-on-ones every Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And I do it between usually 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. in 20-minute increments. So you got 3 hours worth of one-on-ones throughout the entire year. That's 180 minutes, which is 9 meetings. And if you buy now, between now and the 29th, you get an additional 3 in Platinum. And if you buy Gold, you get 3, which I've never given Gold access to one-on-one time. Yeah. Again, this is the last time this is going to be on sale. And then we go live on January 10th. And if you guys can't make it this year, just join next year. Yeah. All right. All right. Next, another Mohammed, great, wrote, hi, Chris. Do you offer consultation sessions? I'd love to talk to you one-on-one without going through the MBA program. Yeah, I'm so sorry I don't. Yeah. If you want, you can purchase the program. We do one-on-ones that way. But yeah. Next up, Mighty Men wrote, happy Thanksgiving, Chris. Happy Thanksgiving to you too as well. Okay. And then you wrote, will you make a course on real estate investments? Yeah, next year. I'll have a short course next year, but I'll add a massive amount of lectures to the MBA program on that. Yeah. And I'm flying up to London, Ontario to film the course. I bought a couple of buildings there recently, and I'll teach you about residential real estate, commercial real estate, and all that stuff as well. Yeah. All right. And then Ryan wrote here, this would be, okay, so you wrote something before and you wrote continued. Here it is. Okay, so you wrote, good morning, Chris. 2 questions. Do you get to celebrate Thanksgiving twice? Oh, that's the same question. Yeah. And I guess you have a follow-up here. Follow-up is, this would be in relation to youth at risk here. The goal is to ensure I capture the value of social edge. Oh, I see. Okay, so you were asking about that. Yeah. I'm not really sure of how to answer that question properly. But I think we did a one-on-one a while ago. And I think I mentioned just network aggressively with big companies like the Royal Bank of Canada, et cetera, and get them to sponsor your youth at risk program. And from a generic perspective, you can say sponsored or powered by the Royal Bank of Canada or any other big multinational companies in Canada that have massive cash balances that want to give back. Yeah. Okay. And Ryan's based in Nova Scotia, I think. My little sisters went to Dalhousie out there. I always had fun when I visited them. Okay. Next up, I've got Steve wrote, any advice for someone that wants to buy land or a home? What should they research or what questions should they ask? Yeah. So the most important thing is location. My dad used to tell me growing up, he'd say, Chris, the 3 most important things about real estate are location, location, location. And when I invest in real estate, I love to buy the crappiest house in the nicest neighborhood instead of buying the nicest house in the crappiest neighborhood. Yeah. And you got to obviously look at the relative prices. You can use Zillow if you want to see what similar houses sold for recently. Yeah. And you want to talk to your accountant before you pull the trigger as well, just because there could be certain tax implications. Yeah. But I like land. My grandfather, God bless him, I miss you, Gramps. He used to say, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of buying land far away from big cities because I think what COVID has taught us is that you don't need to be in a big city in order to work. You can work remotely. And so I love farmland. Yeah. And the smart money, a lot of billionaires are buying farmland right now. Yeah. I do believe that if COVID came before office buildings, would you have as many office buildings in the city? Probably not. Like it's ludicrous if you think about it. We get into these cars, it costs a fortune. We drive for like 2 hours there and back every day, which destroys the planet with pollution. It hurts our family life because we don't see our kids as much. It hurts our health because we're not exercising when we're traveling. And then it's just ridiculous. Like I think that all companies should let you work at least a couple days from home. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's kind of like, I remember years ago, I was at a conference, and I think I was short the New York Times ticker NYT because they were in secular decline. And there's a panel of newspaper executives, and they were arguing. The topic was the future of newspapers. And so Warren Buffett was in the audience. It was awesome, right? And he put his hand up to ask a question, and everybody stopped talking. Like you hear a pin drop. Oh my God, Warren Buffett has a question. And so Warren Buffett said, if the internet was invented first, would we still have newspapers? And I thought that was fascinating. Yeah. All right. Okay. Next up, but I'll be adding a lot more frameworks to the MBA program next year that will help you with real estate as well. Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody up there is in Canada, one of my best friends up there is a guy named Tom Karadza. He runs Rockstar Real Estate. Great guy. Do a search on him. He'll help you out with real estate. Yeah. He's built a massive company. Okay. He's the one that told me about Bulletproof Coffee too. Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got a Dipankar wrote, hi, Prof. Chris. Hello. I hope you're feeling good. I am. Thanks. I'd like to understand how time and business ideas are important for a startup. Yeah. So what I do in my MBA program is I have a Venture Capital Bootcamp. And it's not an easy question for me to answer because I ask you close to 1,000 questions to complete with me live during class to create your business plan. And I don't want anybody to start a company without writing a business plan first. It's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. And so from a generic perspective, when it comes to money, I don't ever want you to use your own money unless you have a lot, because I want you to enjoy your life. And so I teach you how to approach high net worth investors and get them to invest. It's always easier to raise money from high net worth investors instead of companies or venture capital firms because the sales cycle is quite short and you're talking directly to the decision maker. Always talk to the decision maker. Yeah. So I want you to live your life in your own terms, and I want you to raise enough money so you can pay yourself the same base salary that you make at another company. And you can do it, and I'll teach you how. And in terms of time management in general, your questions about money and time, in the first semester, in the personal growth track, I provide you with an advanced time management system that will help you accomplish way, way more every day. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, I've got Darren, who wrote, Chris, you do a great job at looking straight into the camera while presenting. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry. Thank you. God bless you. What does your streaming setup look like from your view? Yeah. So I've got I got a bunch of monitors here. I wish I had another camera setup that I could show you. Maybe I do. Let me see if I can turn on this camera, and I'll turn it around and give you a quick little view here. It's not going to work out that great. Let me see if I even have it connected. And I'm going to show you behind the scenes here as well. All right, so let me just go over here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can add another camera angle. I'll add it up here. So I'm going to add, I don't think it might not be connected. So I'm going to add a new camera. Whoops, sorry about that. I selected media by accident. I'll add a new camera. Okay, hold on. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, I'll change this camera to another one. Hold on a second. Replace layer. No. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's set up. Yeah, maybe I'll do it another week. But the way it works for me is I've got a camera here, and I've got a box below with towels on it, with a pedal in it. I plug into my USB port so I can click through to go through slides just so I know what to talk about. That's why I can look in the camera. And what I do is I do that in PowerPoint here, okay, on the teleprompter. And whenever I press a pedal, it goes to the next slide. And I have PowerPoint also running on another computer up top. And on my PowerPoint slides, when I write the word click, it means to click to the next slide up here. So that's what it looks like. I've got a bunch of lights, obviously, professional lights. I got a wash light here in the back, which is amazing because it lets me do green screening with any light because it's evenly distributed, right? Which is fun, yeah. And I'll show it to you too if you guys are curious. Kind of fun to talk about. So let me go here to, maybe I'll open up Final Cut and I'll show you how I edit stuff as well. Yeah. In terms of microphone, I've got the Shure SMB, I think that's what it's called. The Shure SM7B, Joe Rogan and Seth Rogen use it. So it's a great product. I love it. So this here is, I was just working on some video, and I released the options products. I'll show you here how I edit stuff, yeah. So I usually use a couple different camera angles. And the reason I do is because what happens is if I mess up, I can always cut to another camera. So let me run through this. Might be kind of interesting, teachable moment. So let me clear this, and I'm going to get rid of myself in the bottom. And I'll show you just video editing. It's fun. Yeah. And so I love using Final Cut Pro. It's great. It's easy to use. It's like iMovie, yeah? And so I've always got a couple different layers, right? So there's one layer there, just in case I screw up. That way I don't have to re-record the whole damn thing. And I've got this angle over here as well. So that's one, okay? And then over here, 2, and then 3, okay? So this here is the A camera, the main camera. And so I always record audio on all the cameras at the same time because that way you can, when you import all this stuff, you can synchronize it and you can line it up. So here's the audio from the camera. It'll sound awful, but listen.
Reason why the derivatives market is 6 times bigger than the...
So you always record audio on all cameras. And the reason you do is so you can line up audio with your external microphone, okay? And so what I did was I inserted graphics here as well. Oh, I'll show you the green screen, okay? So let me actually show you this, okay? It's a couple of minutes, this video, and then I'll tell you how I made it. You can ask me questions about editing as well. Thanks. So let's check it out just for a few minutes here.
Everyone needs to understand options, including entrepreneurs, CEOs, CFOs, professional investors, and retail investors, because it affects all of our lives and it can make us a fortune or help protect us from losing everything. In this course, I will teach you from scratch everything you need to know about options. I'll also provide you with many comprehensive Excel spreadsheets so you can thoroughly understand and practice and enjoy doing options from scratch. I'll also teach you how to value options several different ways, as well as how to use options in an offensive and a defensive way for personal investing and professional investing. Now, offensive, I'm Canadian, I gotta have a hockey stick, eh? Offensive investing in sports means scoring a goal, meaning making money, okay? And this is called buying a call. Now, in sports, there's defense as well. And so you can be defensive too and protect your money, which is called buying a put. Or what you can do is you can short options or stocks or commodities. And I'll teach you all this stuff from scratch. Everything you need to make or protect money using options is in this comprehensive and easy to understand course. So welcome. Welcome to the Complete Options course. And I want to introduce you to the fascinating world of options. I have more than 25 years of experience with options through my work experience on Wall Street working at Goldman Sachs, and in the hedge fund industry working at Citadel, and through my MBA in finance from Columbia University. And I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about options from scratch in a fun and edutaining way, meaning educational and entertaining, so you can learn about how to protect your money and also how to make money. Okay, it's a different way to think. And everything I'm going to teach you is based on my real life practical experience and not based on theory. Now, we will use many props and we will talk about real world case studies so that the learning environment will be a lot of fun. And you don't need any experience in investing in stocks or options or math at all to take this course. And by the end of this comprehensive course, you're going to be armed with the knowledge of how to invest in options. Now, options are what I refer to as derivative products. That's what the market calls it. Okay. And I've got a prop here. I got to open up. A little bit dangerous here. I'll be okay. I think this is supposed to be bad luck. I don't know. Indoors? We'll see. All right. But the word derivative contains the word derive in it, meaning derivatives derive their value based on the change in the price of a stock, for example. And options are a massive part of the derivatives market. Under the derivatives umbrella also includes, in addition to options, you got futures, forwards, swaps, and more. And there's other types of derivatives like that I'll briefly cover as well in this course. And options can not only make us money, but also protect us in case the climate for the markets or the economy crashes, so to speak. Now, this will make, let me shut this down, it's kind of dangerous. This will make much more sense to you as we go through the many exercises in this very comprehensive course. Now, the size of the global stock market is this big. Most people invest in stocks, of course, to make money. Now, the size of the options and overall derivatives market is this big. It's 6 times bigger. It's massive. And it affects many aspects of our lives. And derivatives can make us money, just like stocks do. And it can also protect us from losing money, which is one reason why the derivatives market is 6 times bigger than the size of the global stock markets. In fact, if you added up the value of all securities that options and derivative contracts are based on, then it's actually greater than the cumulative total of the GDP of every country in the world, meaning the revenue of every country in the world. In fact, back in 2008, when the whole world was within 24 hours of bank machines not working, it was because of derivatives. And at that time, I remember Warren Buffett saying that derivatives are financial weapons of mass destruction. And a lot of people are confused about how options and derivatives in general work. And I promise you that by the end of this course, the way that the options markets work to make us money and protect our money will be crystal clear and a lot of fun as well. And I explain everything from scratch. And at the end of the second lecture in this course, I'll explain the simple way to use one 3-letter options ticker to tell you when to buy stocks, which always works. Now let's talk about how to take this course. Now there's 3 ways to take this course. There's a couple of bricks behind me you probably notice here. The first way is B for beginner, okay? B for beginner, B for blue. And this blue brick here, which means you want to learn about options and stocks from scratch, is the beginner track. So whenever you see the letter B for beginner at the start of any lectures, exercises, or quizzes, then watch the ones that start with the letter B if you want to be on the B track. And I'll explain how to jump on which track in a second. The second way to take this course is the G track. Okay, the G track. G for genius, G for green. And so many of my students are geniuses. I certainly am not. But the G track or genius track is if you already understand stocks and options from a high level perspective, and you only want to learn about advanced option strategies. Now, the third way is the A track. Okay, A for all. Okay, and meaning you want to watch all beginner and all genius level lectures and side notes and optional lectures. And you want to do all the beginner and genius and optional level exercises too. And you'll notice that after the first lecture, after this one here, you'll see B for beginner.
Okay, so that's this here is I recorded this myself here with my cameras, and then I edited it all as well. And if anybody has questions on how I set this up, let me know. Now, the reason why I was able to get green screen to work in the background is because you can see behind me the lighting is nicely diffused, right? It's uniform except on the corners. And so what I had to do is I had to crop out the corners, right? So let me show you how I did that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I had so much fun. Okay, here we go. So what I did was I downloaded this little clip here, this crack in the wall. It's a little video. It's actually green screen. I downloaded it from Adobe or Storyblocks, one of the companies I pay to get stuff from. And then what I did was I keyed it out here. Okay, so right here, keying means setting up green screen. So if I turn keying off here, you'll see that that's gone, right? And so the way that I set up green screen was I've got two videos on top of each other. Okay, this is the master one, and I've got the same video underneath here. So if I turn this one off here, it looks like that, okay? And it works because the lighting is somewhat uniform, except in the corners, which I had to crop out, right? So it looks like that, yeah. That's how I did the green screen. If anyone has questions about that, let me know, because I used it throughout the course when I was teaching the mini Excel exercises as well, right? And you can notice in the corner there that I actually keyed out. You see that little red thing here? I'll show you here, okay? So
that'll tell you.
So that this red thing here in the corner, I'm keying out, okay, the bricks on the shelf. You see there? So I key them out. Ouch. So that's how you do it, right? So there's a little bit of manipulation going on behind the scenes. So when you play, it looks like this.
Tell you which lectures to take and which sections. This will make sense in a second. So I'm going to select the this track here because I have to teach all the lessons.
Yeah. So if anybody has questions about editing, let me know. Editing's a lot of fun, and like any other video or audio or image software product, you have to use layers. Once you understand the concept of layering, doing all this stuff is pretty easy. Yeah. So yeah, if anybody has questions about this stuff, let me know. I had a blast editing this part. My team helped as well with other lectures. I did this one myself, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I've been doing this for years, man. I got to tell you, having kids, having kids was a great investment. I don't mean it that way, obviously, but it's funny that the Lord works in mysterious ways. I used to buy a camera to take videos of them and all that stuff by taking movies of them and sending it to my dad and mom in Canada. Helped me do what I'm doing now. And my dad had a heart attack back in 2005. Thank God he was okay. And he told me after his heart attack, what helps his heart is when I send him videos of the kids. And so I started editing videos and sending them every day. Yeah. That's how I got into teaching, I guess. Yeah. All right, let me go through your questions here. If anybody wants to join Zoom, I'll jump over to Zoom in a second. All right. Hey, Kyle, how are you? Kyle wrote, happy Thanksgiving, Chris. I'm excited to start the MBA next year. That makes two of us. Awesome. Thank you for being part of it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah. And then, Kevin wrote, I purchased the options course this morning. It looks great. Thank you. You're the one. I appreciate it. Yeah. And I haven't actually marketed it yet. So the reason I haven't marketed it is because I've got, I just uploaded a new video for it, a new trailer. So I'll show you behind the scenes at Udemy how this stuff works. Let me go over here. Hey, Robert. I'll be there in a second, buddy. All right. So I'm waiting until the new trailer hits here, and it's having problems getting uploaded. So give me 1 second here. So I'm about to send a promotional. Yeah, it hasn't updated. I changed this here, that word I wrote here, I make options easy or easy to understand, and it hasn't updated yet. So I'm waiting for that typo to get corrected before I send out an email to my students about it. Yeah, but I haven't marketed it yet. But thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, and give me 1 second here. Oh, and by the way, so in this course, the options course, I set it up so that you can click on any image to see a video on YouTube or on my website, actually, on any topic, right? And I teach how to make options from scratch. I nerded out, had a lot of fun with it. But I put a lot of links in everywhere as well, so you can navigate. What is the strike price? You click here. It's all clickable, yada, yada, yada. I also set it up so that here, if you go to settings or main menu, you select the track that you're most interested in using, like the beginner track or the genius track or the alt track, and it'll tell you, based on what you click here, what you have to do next and all that stuff. And then here in, I think it was in settings, I added a new feature I haven't done before in courses, but I had a lot of fun nerding out with this. I added an index of topics. So you can click on any of these. There's like 100, 150 of them. You get a video, right, on just different, terms within options. And if I don't have that listed here, you can type anything you want here. And it doesn't have to be related to options. So, SPAC. What is SPAC? You hit tab. And then I use an API here. You click here, and it will go directly to a video I made on SPACs. A bunch of them, I guess, over the years. And this is Peyton Kalahea, who's one of my wonderful platinum students that graduates this year. Great guy. Yeah. So I had a lot of fun making this, poured my heart into it, and I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed as well. Yeah. All right, hold on a second here. All right, cool. All right, and then next up I've got VJ, who wrote here, "Hi Chris, I was part of your batch 1 and I was not able to continue. I still have access to the course. Do I need to buy it again? Also, I'm in the Bay Area and I need to meet you. Tell me how." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you don't have to pay for it again. No. If you already bought gold and platinum or whatever, you should have access for life. And since you bought it, I added a ton of new stuff as well. So what you can do is email support@harounventures.com. And if you're having problems accessing your login, what you can do is just send a copy of your payment receipt, whatever, and my team will take care of it. And if you bought gold or platinum, yeah, man, I'd love to meet you. Love to meet you either way. But on December 18th, I rented the best museum in the Bay Area, my favorite one. You'll love it. It's incredible. Bring your kids if you have kids as well. I'm going to do a graduation event there and just an annual alumni networking event there as well. I promise you'll love it. Anybody that's in gold and platinum, if you want to attend the graduation, please email my new head of alumni and one of my wonderful students named Christina Hong. And her email address is hong, H-O-N-G, .christina@gmail.com. Just tell her that you want to come to the events, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner is on me. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, you'll love it. Yeah. All right. So Jason Blythe used to be the head of the Alumni Association, and he did a wonderful job. But he moved from Florida back to Australia, and he was getting up and doing 4:30 a.m. calls for the weekly or monthly Haroun Education Ventures MBA alumni call, and it was just too hard for him. Yeah, he's great. And so he recommended that I choose Christina. It was a no-brainer. She's great. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Next up, Kyle wrote, I read that one already. Can't wait to see you about next year. It'll be fun. All right. And Kyle, if you're in the Bay Area, please come to the annual alumni event / graduation event. And if you can't make it, I'm going to live stream the whole thing as well. Yeah. All right. Next up, Usman wrote, "I'm a big admirer of your courses." Or thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. And thank you for the emojis as well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, so Kyle has a question, which is, what are your thoughts on Mimblewimble protocol for Litecoin, adding the ability to transact anonymously? Yeah, I know that Litecoin is smaller, faster. It's like Bitcoin's little brother or sister, but I don't know that technical protocol. I don't know. Sorry. But if you want to talk to someone that does, you can reach out to Peyton Kalawahea, who was a couple of weeks ago on my webcast. You'll see an image of him in the graphic in YouTube. Reach out to him. He's an NFT and blockchain expert. Yeah, and he runs circles around me, like all my students. All right, and Laron wrote, "Sell me on your course." Yeah, so if you want, you can rewind to the beginning of this webcast. I talked about it for like 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah. And then VJ wrote, "Sure, I'll be there. I think I'm platinum. Looking forward to meeting you." Likewise, bring your family too if you want. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. It's gonna be about 100 people there. I think 60 or 70 registered so far, but usually the way it works is people bring friends. It'll be good. And I got some awesome swag for you as well. Yeah. And if you graduated, tell Christina as well. I haven't seen the list. We have tons of students, but because I'll actually, I have a customized degree with your name and everything on it. This is pleather. That's plastic leather. I'm not cheap when it comes to my students. Yeah, this sort of thing here. Yeah. All right. Next up, Atul wrote, "Hey Chris, I'm from India. Can I buy stocks worth more than $220? Is there any way?" Yeah. So if you're talking about single shares, absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of brokerage services now let you buy partial shares. I think Robinhood does. So what you want to do is you want to search for, can I buy partial shares in India? Let me do it with you, actually. I invested a ton in the Indian markets over the years, especially IT services like Infosys, Wipro, et cetera. But let me go there with you. Okay. Even like companies like Crompton and Greaves, when I did engineering services, industrials, Tata, Mahindra, et cetera. So, okay, buy Indian. Actually, let me do it this way. Buy Sensex partial shares. Sensex is kind of like the Dow or the S&P in India. Okay, you can buy fractional shares Okay, good. So you might be able to do it. That's great branding. And I met Chuck Schwab. I talked to Chuck and his wife out here at a party in Aspen not too long ago. Great guy. Actually, there's 20 people at this party, and Reed Hastings was there, who's the founder of Netflix, and he was presenting his view of the future of education. Good guy. Yeah. So here's what you can do. If you use Schwab, for example, I'm not sure if you can, based on where you live, but you can buy actually ADRs, okay, which are called American Depository Receipts, and you can buy partial shares of Indian companies there. Okay, but let me see here, India. All right. Let me see if I got my VPN on this computer. I'm not sure if I do. No, I don't. It's up top of my other computer. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because using my VPN, I could pretend I'm based in India. Yeah. I don't know if Robinhood does it. I don't know if Robinhood's available in India yet, but maybe you do a search for Robinhood competition in India. How about that? So Robinhood competition in India. Here we go. Maybe Zerodha? I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, Quora is great. Not as good as Reddit, but it's great. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that the CFO there, I was on the board of a company she was on. Her name is Kelly Battle. She's great. She's on the board actually now of Wikipedia, a not-for-profit. Okay, let's see here. Robinhood, yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so check out Finvasia in India. That might help. That's kind of an older post, though. Let's see what else we have here. If anybody's from India, feel free to chime in, please, and let us know if you know of any services or any brokerage services in India that lets you buy partial shares. Can I use Robinhood in India? Let's see here. No, you can't use it. Okay. That's dated, though. That's from like a year and a half ago or something. Okay, so maybe you can, right? And this was actually answered this past October. This is recent. It was like 6 weeks ago. To use Robinhood in India, you need to pass the regular verification. However, the problem might occur when you try to withdraw your money. That's not the best sales pitch. You can invest, but you might not get your money back. Yeah. So I would just take a screen print of what this dude, Ernesto, kindly shared with us here. And maybe you can buy partial shares. Yeah. And this person here is saying you can't use Robinhood. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully that's somewhat helpful. Probably not. I try. All right. Okay. And then MT72734 wrote, graduation event. You also have offline classes. Also, your views on Tesla future growth. I own Tesla shares. I like it longer term. Yeah. And then Mighty Men wrote, do you sell the stock options course individually on your website, or is it only available in the MBA program? I can't find the course on your website. No, it's on my website. It's just go to I think learn.harounventures.com. I think my marketing team has it up there. Yeah. Yeah. And Harsh wrote, you can use Zerodha in India to buy partial shares. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Janice. Hey, Janice, how are you? And Janice is also the name of a great mutual fund, growth mutual fund in Colorado. Yeah. It used to be one of my clients years ago. So Janice wrote, hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise. Do you have any advice for someone who wants to get a United States visa to work there? I really want to live in a country where freedom is a priority. Wishing you all the best. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, so the best way to do it is this way. And I'll generically answer this so it applies to everyone in every country in the world based on where you want to move to. So if you really want to move to another country and it's hard to get a visa, then what I recommend doing is working for a company that has the headquarters in the country you want to move to. And they have a branch office in your country. And work your tail off, do extraordinarily well, network and all that stuff. And after you get promoted a few times, what happens is you get promoted to the mothership, meaning the headquarters in whatever country that company is headquartered in. And these companies, I mean, they have more money than governments, right? And they have an army of lawyers that will do whatever it takes to get you a visa. I know it's kind of a longer term vision, but it's the way to do it. Yeah. So find a company that has headquarters in the United States or whatever countries you want to move to. Be long-term focused, do extraordinarily well, rise through the ranks, and eventually the way to get promoted, and you got to seek mentoring as well within the company, and watch the beginning of today's webcast to understand how to get mentors and network. But once you get promoted a number of times, the next step is always the mothership. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Zerotha is the largest Indian broker, I think. Cool. And then next up, MT wrote, will gold value fall if we find more gold in space? What a great question, dude. Wow. I've got this one student named Mark. He goes by the YouTube name Satons. Great guy. He's in my platinum program. He's based in Detroit. And his business model, his business plan is mining rare minerals on asteroids. He's so long-term focused, kind of like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says the longer view, the wiser the intention. And Elon Musk has been talking about, colonizing Mars for years. But yeah, I'm sure there'd be a lot of regulatory issues. You can watch Dune or read any of Frank Herbert's books to kind of opine or think about what the future might be of commodities in space, for example. It's going to happen at some point. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, but no, it's like with any commodity out there, it's all based on supply, always. Every commodity out there, every stock you buy, anything you invest on, and it's important to understand the underlying supply, cryptos, etc. So you don't get too diluted. But no, I think if there were massive gold finds, like maybe at the bottom of the ocean, now there's certain depths in the ocean that we have never gone to. We've never been there. Like we're exploring space, but we haven't been to the bottom of every location on the planet here. If they were to uncover massive gold mines underground and be able to get offshore drilling companies similar to a Transocean, whatever ticker rig, which Petrobras uses a lot to be able to mine instead of gold deep offshore, instead of oil deep offshore gold, then of course, the price of gold would drop. It's all based on supply. But I think that there's a dearth of supply, and that's why I love investing in natural resources. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of natural resources longer term. Much better investments than owning cash, because cash is trash. Yeah. But my favorite time to own gold is during massive economic recessions. So my biggest long position in my hedge fund years ago in 2008, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working, was GLD. And I don't buy physical gold because I'm not sure if it's real. I like to buy ticker GLD because the fees are less than 1% per year, and it's the real deal, and it's liquid. I can sell it anytime I want to. Yeah. And what a lot of people do, and don't do this because it's illegal. Why am I even mentioning it? But what a lot of people do is they'll buy gold bars. Okay, they'll pay cash for it in some part of town, and then they'll keep it. And then when gold goes up a lot, they'll go back and sell it for more and not pay taxes. Don't do that. Yeah. All right. All right. And Kyle wrote, quick question. Sure. I'm doing some networking meetings to find out about an entry-level tech sales job. What are some good questions to ask in my sales networking meetings? Yeah. So I recommend, so the very beginning of the webcast today was kind of fun, but what I did was I talked about when you go to sales meetings to meet with somebody for informational purposes, you want to think about what motivates them. And usually it's three things in business. They want to make more money, they want to get promoted faster, and they want to enjoy their job. And so what you can do is you can network and get the names of 5 people that might be potential customers for this person. Costs you nothing to network, right? And then when you meet with this salesperson, after you bond with them for 10 or 15 minutes first, you can pull out a piece of paper with the names of those 5 people that might be customers and say, I'm happy to introduce them to you. And if you ask yourself, oh my God, it's a lot of work, Chris, then you got to say to yourself, how badly do you want this job? And would your competition do that? No. Yeah. And for anybody in general, if you want to find out who your competition's biggest customers are, go to LinkedIn and find the names of all the salespeople that work at that company. And then go to Twitter to see who they follow. Because I promise you they follow their customers. Yeah. All right, cool. Rose, how are you? Rose graduated last year from my platinum program. She's awesome. She was head of the yearbook last year. This year, the head of the yearbook is Christina And Rose is from the great state of Virginia. She wrote, "Happy Thanksgiving. Great to see you, Rose." And Rose, you asked about my cat before. Remember, I brought Ruby in when she was just so cute, little kitten. She's big now, like not massive big, but she's fully grown at this big. She's so cute. And Andrew, Christine, the boys are up in Canada now. I'm here because I'm working. Also, we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, not American as much, but I'm taking care of Ruby now. And what I did with Ruby and my cat was, you know those Apple tags are like $29 each, and you can track stuff? I put it on her collar. Thank God I did, because sometimes I find her outside and yeah, but she's great. And she loves me now. She doesn't pay attention to me ever, except when I'm making my salad at night and I'm putting tuna in it. She rubs against my leg, kiss ass. I'm just kidding. But she loves me today because my kids aren't there to pet her and stuff. Yeah. I love my cat. And the funniest thing is when you have a cat and the cat's on the bottom of your bed and you're going to bed, you get in so carefully because God forbid you wake up the cat and the cat leaves. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then MT wrote, "Do you have any debit or are you debit free?" If you mean, do I accept payment for debit cards? I do. If you go and buy my program, you can enter a debit card in the credit card field. It should work. If it doesn't, then I'm so sorry. We don't accept it. In terms of debit card, I have it. I don't use it really. I use credit card for everything. I have 2 credit cards. One is business, one is personal. If something is a business expense, I use this card and vice versa. That's it. Yeah. Debit cards are bigger in Canada, massive in Canada, in Europe as well, less so in America. It's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Atul, who wrote, "Chris, why are you not on Instagram?" I am. I don't. My team posts all this stuff, but I'm there. No, just do a search on my name. I'm definitely there. I think I might have 2 accounts, but just find the one that has thousands of followers or something. Yeah. Okay. Next up, MT wrote, "If many startups fail, then can you short?" Just jumped to me. Can you short all startups and earn money? Yeah. It all depends, right? You have to look at the fundamentals of the underlying company as well, and also the health of the market. If we're in a tremendous bull market, which we are now, it's hard to short lower quality stocks because they have high betas, which means they go up more in the market. However, stocks with high betas that are lower quality and are new IPOs can really underperform if we're in a horrific bear market. And then shorting them is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's easy. Yeah. It all depends. Yeah. But there's this survival bias though. Like for every Google that goes public, there's a gazillion other tech companies or search engine companies that go belly up. It's so hard to make it from startup to IPO. Most companies are walking dead. Yeah. And then Kyle said, "Thanks, Chris. These are great. You're most welcome, buddy." Yeah, and I'm looking forward to working with you next year as well in my program. Thanks. Okay. And then MT wrote, "Use stop stock if some startup grow." Yeah. Stop losses. A lot of people use that. Yeah. All right. Next up, I got Jose. Hey, Jose, how are you? Jose wrote, "Hey, Chris, I love your videos and watch them when I can. Thank you. I appreciate that." And then you wrote, "Once I finish my bachelor's, I plan to enroll in your MBA program." Awesome. Thanks. Love to have you join us this year. If you can't do this year, you can do next year or anytime you want. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. And once you sign up, you got access for free forever. You got access forever to all new stuff I publish. Yeah. Enjoy school, man. Okay. Next up, Jules wrote, "Hey, Chris, I'm looking into raising capital for a startup. Is there a way to leverage sweat equity from another ongoing project?" Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question. Sorry, it's my fault. I want to be as helpful as I humbly can, but I don't understand the question. I'm so sorry. Yeah, if you can rephrase it and just give a little bit more detail, what you mean by leveraging sweat equity from another another ongoing project. Yeah. And in my MBA program, in the Venture Capital Bootcamp part of the program, that's in the 3rd or 4th semesters, I teach you how to start a company and all that great stuff and how to raise money as well. And I prefer it that people raise money initially from high net worth investors because you're always talking to the decision maker. And because of that, the sales cycle is quite short. Yeah. All right, next up, MT wrote, have you taken a loan? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I think it's foolish to pay off your mortgage, in America at least. America is different from most countries because in the United States, you can write off the interest on your mortgage. It's tax deductible. And so it doesn't matter how much money you have to have a mortgage, right? It's like a gift from the government. And a lot of people take too much advantage of it and over leverage themselves. And that's why in 2008, there was a massive housing crisis in America, but not as much in Canada, for example, because in Canada, you cannot write off the interest on your mortgage. Yeah. So you have to have that. You have to always have that. Yeah. Obviously, make your mortgage payments, otherwise your credit rating gets shot. Yeah. And for those of you that want to buy a house eventually or an apartment, just be careful with every single bill, man. I remember when I bought this house, I live here in a place called Hillsborough, California. I was long a couple houses. And of course, I wanted to get a mortgage for this guy. And so Wells Fargo wouldn't let me. And I was like, dude, why? And they said, because, well, it looks like your credit rating, you had a bad credit rating because of some Nordstrom payment you missed. And speaking of Nordstrom missed earnings. Their stock's getting crushed today. Or yesterday, yeah. And so I went to Nordstrom, big clothing store here in America that's based in Seattle. I went to Nordstrom, and years ago, I must have opened a credit card at checkout because, you get big savings. I'm an idiot, though. I didn't pay it back on time. And so I begged the manager. I'll never forget. I went to the Westfield Shopping Center in San Francisco on Market Street. And I got down on my knees. I was on the 5th floor in that shopping center talking to the manager of Nordstrom. And I said, please, can you call the credit agency and remove this flag from my profile? And they did it. Yeah. And even then, it was hard to get a mortgage. And so my mortgage broker, he was avoiding my calls. And I couldn't get him. Right? It was painful. And so I wrote the nicest recommendation for him on LinkedIn. I got his business, or vice versa. He worked with us. Yeah. All right. But I don't believe in getting a loan to start a company because if you miss one payment, the bank can take everything. I recommend getting high net worth investors to invest, and I teach that in my MBA program as well. Yeah. All right. Pardon me. And so Mufadal wrote, happy Thanksgiving, Chris. Thank you. Same to you. Next up, I got Maksad, who wrote, hey, Chris, my country's tax code is cryptocurrencies. Because I can't find any information on internet, what would you advise? Yeah. I'm not sure what country you're based in, but just assume that any profits you make, you're going to be paying taxes on. You can't hide anymore, right? So you used to be able to even hide. Like a lot of wealthy Americans used to put their money into Swiss bank accounts. And then in 2009, a precedent was set where the Swiss government actually partnered with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service in the United States. So you can't hide. And the government will go after you if you make a certain amount of money in cryptos. And they have partnerships with a lot of the big exchanges like Coinbase, for example. Yeah, and to learn more about that, just do a search on me online. I was interviewed on NBC on television on cryptocurrency taxes. Kind of a long interview, but those are my thoughts, yeah. Next up is MT wrote, if your startup fails, then do your investors attack you? Yeah. Release the hounds. So before you start a company, you always talk to a lawyer and you get your company registered. And if it's expensive to get a lawyer for you, you can actually use LegalZoom.com. It's very cheap, and they'll create an LLC for you, which is Limited Liability Corporation, which will protect you in case investors sue you. But of course, that doesn't protect you if there's anything criminal in general, which is what we're seeing right now with Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. Yeah. And a tool, if you can't use LegalZoom, like say you're in a country where there's no LegalZoom, just do a search for what is the Canadian or Indian version of LegalZoom. Yeah, they're out there. Yeah. Atul wrote, I took your Udemy course, entire MBA in one course. Is there something more in the course that you're offering here? Yeah, I get that question a lot. I should probably do a better job explaining that. So yeah, that course on Udemy is 7.5 hours. This one is all brand new content. It's 300 hours or 500 hours, including live Q&A with me as well. So we go into a lot more detail. Yeah. Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Zoom to see if anybody wants to join, has questions about over Zoom now. If not, we can wrap up the call. But this is your time. You guys are the customer. Let me go here. I've got Robert. Okay, let's see Robert here. Robert, I'm sorry to keep you waiting here, man. And I'll wait for Robert. And if anybody wants to join, you can, yeah. I think I gave you the address before. All right, so Robert's not there. Robert, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, dude. Right. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the call now. Christina, how are you? Christina is the head of our Alumni Association. I was singing your praises earlier. You're my head of business development. You're the best, and I appreciate you. And today on Thanksgiving, I am thankful. Let me actually do this so you can see me thank me live. I'm thankful for you, Christina. Thank you. Whoa. This means the call's over. Guardians of the Galaxy. Great movie. Loved it. I have Rocky Raccoon #1. I had it when I was a kid. The comic book is worth something now. It's cool. All right, guys, take care. Happy Thanksgiving, Christine, Christina, and everybody. God bless you. And I'll see you next Thursday. And every Thursday, Christina, I'll see you in class on Monday as well. Don't forget, everybody, to check out the sale here, which expires on November 29th. It's the last time that my gold and platinum program is going to be on sale. And I'd love to have you join us. We start January 10th. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee after we start, which means if you buy it today, you have 77 days to get your money back, 100%. Meaning you get all your money back by February 10th. You can even watch the first 30 days, do one-on-ones with me, and then drop and get your money back. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you soon. Thank you.